gonna mute my follow sound.
All right, no worries.
Forgot
So
about that.
usually with a release, we spend a little time cleaning it up and making sure it's not super buggy. I mean, bugs happen, but I mean, we're in the middle of a month and they've just been adding features, so a lot of them might be untested or not cleaned, that kind of thing. Like the
see.
terrain generator might not work. I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't work in the dev builds.
Working well from what I can see. I just clicked generate, and
Yeah.
it generated something.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you got the tabs there to kind of pick your
Cool.
details.
It's kind of funny because OpenRCT implemented a very similar feature.
Well, back in the day before we hired Luke and Tim, who are the part-time programmers,
Yeah.
Tim made a mod that was a terrain generator, so it just made sense that eventually he would make one as part of the game while working for us. So, yeah, it's something I've always wanted to be part of the game, just because I think it adds a lot of value.
I think the
Kind of.
terrain generators are something that I kept hearing people ask about when I played this game a whole bunch.
Well, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, custom making that kind of terrain kind of sucks, right? The systems aren't built for like that kind of work. They're meant for like fine tuning.
I have a cat saying hello, who's probably about to knock my microphone over, but that's life.
Nice.
But
These cats here are asleep. I'm lucky.
it's funny because I'm one of those people who likes building the terrain. But
No, yeah, totally. Like my brother's like that too, and he got on my case about adding a tree brush. So eventually that'll probably happen.
I would love a tree brush. That would be great.
Yeah.
Like randomly scattering trees. Just make something that I can with while we talk. Let's do like 60 by 60. It's not too big.
You'll have to add there's like you can tell here actually the hills. I think this has we lowered the hills to be half height from what they were. They used to be very steep, right?
Yeah.
So now we have a more natural looking terrain.
Yep.
And also the terrain transitions are in there. There's not just like big tiles of terrain anymore. You can get diagonals and stuff.
Yeah, I love what you've done with the ground painting. The transition, I think you call them ground transitions. Make things flow together nicer.
We'd actually been working on that for like years because
Really?
we couldn't figure out a good method to kind of do it. So
It
finally.
looks pretty.
Well, thank you.
I saw that and I was like, oh man.
Someone asked if there's multiplayer, and there won't be. And the reason for that is not because we don't like multiplayer, but because Unity and C# are not deterministic, and a game like this needs to be deterministic in multiplayer. Which basically means like an action is the same across all clients, more or less. I'm not a coder, so someone in chat might know, so they can kind of correct me.
I had to move my cat before she tries to knock my monitor over. She will do that.
She just wants to play the game.
She just wants to lie down on my mouse pad. But that too. Yeah.
So you notice the UI is a little different?
Yeah,
we've been kind of working on it for the last 2 months.
I've noticed the UI polish. I opened the game up last night for first time in about 3 weeks, I think. And I feel like stuff had changed in that time.
Yeah, there's still some like weirdness. We hired an artist from Toronto named Gabby, and she's a UI kind of UX person, and also will help with 3D art eventually. But
yeah,
because she's good at UI and UX stuff, I was just like, hey, you want to fix our UI? You want to give it an overhaul? And she was like, okay, cool. So.
Okay, I'm just trying to. There we go.
Plutonium.
Oh, I see.
I don't have an answer because I'm not a coder. I just know like the answer Sebastian gives. There's a blog post about it. Where did he answer that? He answered somewhere about why we're not multiplayer, but I would have to dig around, and that would distract me from this. So
I think honestly, if with any game, if the community wants it bad enough, they'll make it happen. I think we actually talked about this last time we did this. Multiplayer came up, and it's like, well, you know, people want it enough, someone will make it happen somewhere eventually.
Yeah, we get asked about it a lot, and it's like, if we want to do it, we want to do it like really well, and not just kind of slap it in as an afterthought, right?
Yeah. So I think for me, the issue with multiplayer is I either I either want really good sharing tools or I want really good multiplayer, and I think in general I personally lean towards sharing tools. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the same for everybody, but oh, this is like incredible. This has all changed since I last messed with the scenario editor. I usually just go
The other
straight
problem
into the sandbox. So.
The other problem is people might expect like OpenRCT multiplayer, which we definitely wouldn't do because that just becomes chaos if you're not careful.
Oh,
So
that requires like, for me to run my OpenRCT games, it requires me to just basically put my foot down and say, okay, everybody listen. And then the open games are generally pretty chaotic. Yeah. Let's just get this flattened out.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but this guy named Dwirgirth asks what Parkitect is.
Stargirth.
Parkitect is a theme park simulation game, an indie one, I should say, that I'm the artist for, and we kickstarted back in, was it 2014 or 2015?
I
It was one of those
just
two.
missed it, and I just started streaming, so it probably would have been 2014.
Right. Okay, so we kickstarted in 2014, and since then, a year after that, moved it to early access, and have been working on it ever since, slowly but surely, because we're a small team.
One of the damn cutest games I've ever seen.
Thank you. We like a little toy box art style.
It's just so adorable.
If you want entrances and stuff, they're in the utility building section. Yep. Like this builder is not explained very well yet, so.
Yeah, I recall like right when you launched it, I screwed around with it a whole bunch, and I think that's all pretty much the same-ish. Yeah, all this stuff. Oh, park entrance.
We're working on a
new.
tutorials soon. I'm not going to give a date for it because these things take time. We got a small entrance now, so that's cool.
Yeah, I see that. I want to build that. I can figure out how.
I'm working on, of course, like, I don't know what the stream delay is, but I see like everything probably a few seconds after it happens. So.
It's probably around.
Okay, that's not too bad.
It's pretty good. Oh, I see. Yeah, this works. Boom. Still just love the path building. It's so quick and like it just feels good. I remember talking about that last time. Like everything about Parkitect just feels really good to play because it's also snappy.
Yeah, we wanted it to feel really satisfying just to do a lot of the mundane stuff because that's kind of the game, is building stuff. So a lot of little animations and little things, like if you watch like delivery building, crates like pop out of nowhere and like fall down. It's just cute stuff, right?
So last time we talked, we were sort of talking about this before the stream started, but Planet Coaster was in like its very first, like I guess public alpha stages. It had more or less just gone on sale. They'd done their first alpha weekend, and then they were from there on moving into full release pretty soon. Their alpha. So I'm just curious here. How has it been existing in kind of a very specific niche of games, next to such a large and prominent game, I guess?
I mean, it's been fine mostly. I think we had the benefit of being like before both it and Roller Coaster Tycoon World, so we had a little bit of an audience already. And I mean, being indie, you don't need the same numbers as those big studios need. And I mean, the cool thing is Planet Coaster brought a lot of players to the genre, I guess. And that did help us out and kind of brought a little upturn for people just looking for more experiences like that, right? So a lot of people ask us like, oh, it's like, oh, it must have been like scary. There's like competition there. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's kind of, games aren't like other industries where that's going to ruin you unless you're making the exact same thing, which rarely happens because games are nebulous things. So like,
if I recall correctly, yeah. I remember thinking about that myself, like, oh man, like what if it like doesn't necessarily hurt Parkitect, but maybe like people who are going to play Parkitect decide to just play the big game instead. And I remember finding it rather amusing because I saw them shout you guys out on Twitter like very early on, which I thought was funny.
No, yeah, we've definitely, like, I wouldn't say interacted like privately, but like on Twitter, there's like their community team at least knows of us, right? So I would imagine they do, and we've definitely just been like, I don't know, I don't even know how to put it. I'm like mincing my words here, but like
Their community
it's
team
not
are
like
good
a
people.
collaboration. Yeah, it's not like a collaborative thing, but it's like, oh, cool, like there's other people on this block, and we can kind of learn from each other, kind of thing.
Yeah, if anybody screws up, you know who to laugh at.
um, 8-Bit Flash asked us a one-man dev team. There are myself and Sebastian are full time, and we started the project. Sebastian is the coder, and I am the artist, and we kind of do design together. And we've also got Gordon McLattery doing audio with his company, A Shell in the Pit Audio, which has um, two other folks, which M. Halberstadt and Chris Tamik under them. And we also hired Luke and Tim as part-time programmers. So we have two part-time programmers, one full-time. And I recently hired Gabby D'Arienzo as a part-time artist to help me kind of fill in the gaps, kind of clean up the UI kind of thing. So
When we last talked, it was still just you and Sebastian and Shell in the Pit, if I remember correctly.
yeah,
So
I think so, yeah.
and then like
So yeah, Luke and Tim since then, and like we hired Luke and Tim because they mod it. They were the people who built all the modding tools for the game
oh
and
really?
were the first folks to mod the game. So when it came time that we were like, maybe we should look into hiring some folks, they were the obvious choice, right? So
Um, wait, were those the Parkitect Nexus people?
yeah, that's them.
Okay, cool, cool. Is that for the people watching in chat? There's a rather large modding scene for this game actually. Like, I don't want to say it's startlingly big, but there's a lot of stuff you can just go out and purchase for this game, or not purchase, but like install and like run over it. Like if you want to run the game in full 3D, you can do that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it can cause some problems, and it
Uh-huh.
has. We get a lot of support requests that are like, "Why doesn't my game work?" And it's like, well,
How many mods
you
do you have
got.
installed?
Oh, you can ignore that.
Yeah.
It's just bugs.
Yeah, I just clicked OK. I'm like, if it crashes, it crashes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, if it does, it does. Whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, I believe in like supporting modding communities, and that stuff's important to any game. It totally helps add value and add longevity and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, it's a small community right now. We've also got workshop just for sharing your coaster blueprints and your like scenery blueprints if you build a nice like house or something, sharing your parks, and that's pretty popular. We have a dev picks kind of thing going on where all the cool stuff that I see on there I throw in there. I would like to I don't want to confirm this or deny it, but we'd like to look into putting mod support like City Skylines has.
Oh, this is straight into the workshop.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult and time consuming, so that might be like an after release kind of thing.
That would be cool. It would be kind of sad to see Parkitect Nexus go away a little bit, but at the same time, it would make modding a lot easier.
Yeah, I know their community is kind of worried about that, but the way I think about it is like if things like Skyrim, Nexus, and the workshop can coexist, so can this, right? Like,
This is a tool that I've been interested to look at ever since I saw the being able to paint a quarter of a tile, because the like amount of little details you could do with a skilled hand with this is just kind of incredible to me.
yeah, we need to improve the triangle one a little bit. It's a little bit too granular for my tastes. Maybe it needs like a brush or something.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, you can like paint with it, but it's just like a single tile. It's like, oh, okay, that's
You,
all right.
you could do like corners with that. I like make a slant like what I just did there. That looks
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, no, it maybe does need a little bit of shaping on it or something.
One thing we also added was if you terraform near water, it'll just keep flooding.
Oh, really?
Unless you open it, if you open it up into like a big valley though, it'll just disappear because we don't want you flooding your game and like breaking all your rides by accident. So you can kind of just like place some water and like terraform rivers and stuff. It's pretty cool.
So now, because like I haven't played this game as much as I probably should be recently, and it's been a little while. Why don't we just like kind of Parkitect has, from what I can tell, has always aimed for more of like the management game out of the niche of the
Mhm.
genre. So what exact like how exactly would you describe Parkitect aside from that it's a like a theme park management game? Like what exactly are your goals for challenge and gameplay, I guess? Like it's more
Yeah.
about managing the business, right? Unless
Yeah, so we're kind of getting into that work now, and it's taking some time, but I hope it'll be worth the wait. So we definitely started Parkitect with a focus on management because we really wanted to kind of harken back to like Roller Coaster Tycoon and theme park, and I would almost argue more theme park than Roller Coaster Tycoon because I played a lot of that too when I was younger, and I really liked kind of how they structured the campaign and stuff of that. Not, I would actually, it's not theme park. It's like theme park world or sim theme park, I guess,
Sim theme
was the one
park,
I
yeah,
played.
I remember
Yeah.
that one.
So one thing we've added, which might show up in your game when you play it, is random events which are coming
Oh,
along.
really?
So this, I'll get into the more management stuff, so I'm not like avoiding the question, but like, so every so often, and it's not balanced, they just got added. Like events can happen where like, oh, like a rival park closed down, so you're gonna get some more guests, or like a bus dropped off a bunch of guests who want to ride a roller coaster, and it's like, okay, cool, like, and or like there's the heat wave is coming, you can price up your drinks or something like that, right? So you can kind of, that's definitely like our like theme park inspiration type thing there.
As long
I
as
always
there's
like
no
that stuff
toxic
for like
fallout.
little things to act on and improve your game. But in campaign, this is a big answer. In campaign things, we definitely care about management because if you look, like, there's resources which blind place the deliveries building, and there's a staff room there because your staff needs to be properly taken care of. So like when you build shops, they need to have resources delivered to them to sell those things to people, and your staff will get tired and needs a break. So you want to like zone your park carefully and place staff rooms in strategic locations so they can take a break. But you also don't want like the haulers, which are the people who carry resources around your park, kind of mixing with guests because guests don't like having people carrying boxes around them. Like being bumped into with heavy boxes kind of sucks. So you can make like staff walkways underground. There's a whole conveyor belt system for moving resources around the park. Which you in utilities there's the depot, which is kind of the one of the hub structures for the conveyor belt network and the trash network. Um, is this game balanced right now? We're always working on balance. It's always iterative because we're so small. We can't really like QA the hell out of it and kind of get that right the first time. So it's like as people play it, we kind of get feedback and kind of keep an eye on the trends and fix it as we go. Like ride balance is still ongoing. Maintenance has gone through many revisions since we started. Like there's there's maintenance per track. So like rides have different maintenance based on how long the track is, and there's a base maintenance cost just for the ride in general, and it's like all this complicated stuff. And like we still haven't added stuff like, I would say staff training is cool. Like you could improve your staff by training them, and watching your ride durability and stuff like that. There will also be like a campaign, which we are working on over the next few months now, which should be pretty cool. So
For the map
it,
editor, I just save and then load it in from the main menu, right?
um, I think if you click on that little yeah, you should name your park. You click on that little scenario button on the bottom middle. You should probably glance through there and check your guest stuff. There's some stuff in there that is it's a little entrance button, sorry, in the middle.
This one?
But in sorry, this delay is
Scenario
tricky.
editor tools, which is the little
Yeah,
button by the demolish button, right?
yeah. So you've got like your you might want to glance through all these things.
Starting
So
money, land price per tile. I'm just gonna leave all of this at default, I think.
yeah, you can do that.
Add a goal. Oh, there's a time
Yeah,
restraint.
there's goal.
Cool.
Yeah, if you want to just play it, I think you can just save it and then just load it. I've never actually made a scenario. too busy with other things.
That's fair. Okay, I'll just.
So yeah, if you
I'll
save
just
it, like you can always just load it back in here again. So.
It'll take me back to the main. Yep. Yep. Cool. There it is. Stream test. Found it.
Okay, cool. It's working.
Yeah, nothing's broken yet. I got that one. Knock on wood, I guess. But I did get that one error early on.
Hey, if anything, this is great QA. Like, we'll know if anything happens. I can kind of dig into it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't. If I recall correctly, I've found bugs on streams before for this game.
Oh yeah, it's
been a while.
It's gonna happen.
We've done it. I think I'm gonna swap out all these paths. I want these paths. They do have unlimited money, so might as well abuse it. That's how money works, right?
Someone asked if it's like RimWorld cross Roller Coaster Tycoon. I am gonna say no because RimWorld is very granular, and this game is not that granular. It's like it's micromanaging, but not that kind of micromanaging. There's a lot of automated stuff that happens. Like, it's not super fun for a game like this to have your employees constantly just like running off and sleeping and stuff. So shopkeepers and stuff don't really need staff rooms yet. So
in general, I personally, the way I would describe this game, just playing it, the amount that I have, I would just say it's take RCT 2 and RCT 1 and put their own unique spin on it and make it modern.
Yeah,
the way I would describe it. Like, it's not brutal in the sense that RimWorld is. RimWorld's an extremely hard game.
Yeah, that game throws things at you constantly.
As an architect, not sure where you got.
Maybe like Prison Architect was definitely an inspiration for us. We don't go as deep as they do, like electricity and stuff like that, and all these systems, but there's definitely that was definitely in our minds when we were thinking of this game.
Legoland did. I don't know if you ever played that, but there was a Legoland game once upon a time that had an electricity system, which was interesting.
Yeah, we thought about it and we figured it might be cool, but we just kind of didn't end up going for it. Somebody asked what the maintenance track could change based on like breaks and stuff. Currently it's per ride, so different rides have different maintenance costs because a ride like an inverted dark ride, which has a very complicated track system, which is like an inverted roller coaster track plus power cabling plus like rotators and stuff like that. It's going to cost you a fair bit more than say like a wooden coaster. So
wooden coasters have rot though.
That's true. And when I'm balancing it, I do take that into account. I was like, when I was putting the numbers in, I was like, okay, what makes sense for a wooden coaster? Because yeah, there's rot, and like wood is a little bit more difficult to maintain because it's a lot more structurally unsound than steel kind of thing. So, but in the end, it's a game, right? It has to kind of work. So.
Just trying to formulate questions in my head that I was thinking about before.
Don't worry.
While still.
I think we fixed Ferris wheels being sadness factory, so I guess people will be happy on them. Although they shouldn't fly up to the seat like that. That's a little weird.
Wait, what'd they do?
Yeah.
And I gotta watch this now, see if they do it again. Fly up. Wait, did they go to the top or something? Like, what did they do?
They got on like a higher seat towards the back. You'll see when this thing stops and more people get on. It's pretty funny.
Speed up time a little bit here. That's interesting. that is very interesting.
Go.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's no longer a sadness factory, but they have the power of levitation, so that's pretty cool. So, I guess right now it's the question of like full release and what is early access, right? I think is the main thing I want to talk about, because I've had a number of people like mention to me recently. It's like, like people that I know used to play this game a whole lot when it first launched, saying things like, "Oh, you know, like I'll go back to it when it's done," or "Why isn't it done yet?" And I'm starting to lose hope. It's like it's never going to be
Right.
done. It's just gonna be early access. Where like there's this title, like this term that's coming out now that I've seen recently. Recent negative news: decreased interest in theme parks. Interesting. I think that was a random
Yeah, that's
event.
one of the events.
But anyways, like there's this term called early access wear that I think has popped up recently, which I almost want to call fear mongering, which I've seen people like referring to Parkitect as. I know that DayZ is, I think, like the main culprit for that term.
Yeah, so like my opinion on this is like, sure, yeah, like there are some early access games that have maybe abused the system a bit, but I think a lot of people really have no idea how games are made.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of games that try to do public development now, and it's getting more of a mainstream thing, but I still think a lot of people don't really understand what it takes to make a game and how much time and money they actually do take. And in Parkitect's case, we're a small team, and that's why it's taking so long. Is because we can only put in so many man hours in a day, right? We only got, for the longest time, it was just one programmer, one artist.
Yeah.
It's kind of severely limits. Like Planet Coaster had that update recently, right? 150 new scenery items. Like, there's no way I can do that. They have a team of artists, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, and I have other tasks to do. Like I have to like work on balance and stuff like that. So
Community management.
yeah, it's like, so I mean I understand the stigma with early access. I totally do. It's just I think there's a lot of sides to it people don't really consider, and that's fine. Like, why would they know about how games are made, right? Like that doesn't make sense. There's a reason they're kind of hidden, is because marketing is a big deal for games. And that's why, because like pre-orders are a big deal, right? So keep bumping my mic. Hopefully that's not bad.
And Hugh Toby just said in chat, "Can you get decreased interest?" I guess in the random event right after opening a roller coaster. I guess
Yep.
I think like the way the random event was worded, Utopia, it kind of said like recent news. So you know, like
Yeah.
if there's a roller coaster crash in another theme park, maybe people aren't going to go to theme parks for a little bit.
Yeah, it can happen. It's kind of like
One day.
the this goes back to like Prison Architect and like RimWorld, but like the idea for that was like just to spice things up a bit. It doesn't last forever. I mean, it's just like a temporary thing. So like with decreased interest, you could counter it by maybe advertising, right?
Yeah.
Or you could just wait it out. Like it's not like a huge deal. So what I would do is just counter it with advertising, because then you'll just get more people.
Just trying to make a decent looking park while like not doing anything super fancy. I don't want to spend an hour building a building.
No worries. But to go back to like the early access thing, like when is Parkitect gonna be? I don't know, because like we're still a small team. We're going faster than we were, and we're trying to get scenarios done pretty soon here. But I don't really have a date. It's always been like when we think it's ready.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I think that's
So
the
I
right
mean,
way
and
to do it.
it's easy to fall into that trap. Like releasing things is hard.
Yeah.
If you study game design or something, you'll know that. And it's like we could fall into the trap of like, oh, it's never ready, but eventually we will just be like, okay, this is done, and we'll push it out and we'll support it for a while, because of course.
I think it was Subnautica recently said that they were considering right now like never leaving early access, and that actively makes me really sad. So
That's kind of, I don't understand that though, because Subnautica's been like constantly improving and getting close to being done with their story stuff, so I don't know why they would consider that.
it's just what they were saying publicly recently, and that like I don't like the idea of
That's
games
like
never being done, but at the same time, I'm totally fine with waiting. Like, I'm never going to be the guy who's like, oh, you know, I'm not going to play this until this is out of early access because I'm currently funding a like space station management game for $1 a month on Patreon because I just want to see that game get made. So like,
yeah,
for me right now, I'll wait. Like, this isn't about me. This is about just questions I've had in chat and just people asking me. It's like, oh yeah, you know, like I'll pick up Parkitect when it's done, or man, I have Parkitect and I regret it because it's not done yet. It's like, well,
I
is
mean,
it?
like, why regret it? Like, because eventually it will be done, and it's like I'm obviously biased, but I think it's a pretty decent little sandbox thing right now, and a lot of people seem to agree. So,
It's a very compelling little sandbox, if nothing else.
like 8-Bit Fire asks in chat, like, why would a game not leave early access when that hurts sales? It's like, well, to an extent, yes, there are some people who don't buy early access, but there's also like they can also just justify constantly changing it and stuff. I mean, I don't really understand it either from a business standpoint. Is
Because PlayerUnknown's
like that seems like it
Battlegrounds
would do
exist.
harm, right? Like, I don't know.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds exist. No, that's not doing badly at all, and that's in early access.
That's doing
So
really well.
sold what, 1 million
Yeah,
copies in the first week. So
I think part of it is also like big companies tend to use kind of the early access model for PR reasons too. Like EA with like the EA access or whatever, like that's not really early access, but that's like marketing early access. Like, oh, you can play the game earlier; it's already done. But it's just these really weird decisions that happen, and people, of course, see dollar signs and want to get in on that, right? So
just kind of early access in general. Oh, the space station one, a little game called Starmancer, which is extremely early on. It's got like
that looks really cool.
no actual gameplay yet, but I took one look at it. I was like, "You're making a game for me," so I'm funding it for $1 because, well,
Yeah, I dig building space stations.
they made a very pretty little oh, what's it called? Just like pixel art desktop background, and so as far as I'm concerned, my first $1 has been like is worth it because they made me a desktop background, which is pretty.
Right, yeah. So the water disappeared there because it would have flooded that
Yeah,
thing.
I
It's
was
just like a little
curious about that.
safety. Not everybody likes it, but it was like
Yeah,
a better option than just like flooding everything.
yeah, no, it's good. All good. Trying to decide where I want to put stuff here. Kind of want to get
If
like
you
a
want to
little
build
food court thing.
submarines,
Ooh,
because we've got submarines in this build, you got to have a deeper lake than that.
okay. Are those just like in general track rides, or? Oh, I see. They're under roller coasters right now.
You can build them above water too, but I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'll make a deeper lake a little further back, a little later, I think. I'm just gonna build some rides that I haven't built before, because it's or at least not on
Yeah, I think
stream.
we got a few new ones.
I think Skyfall's new, from what I've seen, or since I last played heavily.
Like who Toby said, like you can say you're done and still change things. It's like, yeah, of course. Like, but you want to have a good like game to call done, right? Like you can't just like I wouldn't call Parkitect done because it doesn't have any of the management stuff. It does, but they're not done.
To me,
So it's like,
at least a game is done when it's fully playable, doesn't crash frequently, and has a decent amount of time, and you can put a decent amount of time into it without thinking about it.
yeah.
Yes. And
So we might go straight from alpha to done, which I'm kind of get really mad when games do the whole like, oh, alpha and then done. But I mean, it's not the end of the world for us. It just kind of works.
I mean, you
Like, I
could
would
almost just
prefer-
have like a week of beta. Now in beta. Okay, we're done. But
I think you're gonna want a bigger line for that Skyfall.
make a bigger line then.
That thing holds a lot of people.
How many people does this thing hold? I almost want to
8
count.
per side, so you want to have at least
Oh, I see.
16.
Okay.
Not 16 tiles, but at least a queue big enough for 16 people.
And each Q square holds what, like 4 or 5?
It can be like, yeah, it's like between 3 and 5.
That should be
Like-
plenty then. I don't want it to be too
To
long.
ride one of these things in real life, holy crap!
I don't even know what it is.
It faces you straight down and then drops.
Oh, one of the. Okay, never mind. I know what that is now. Okay.
Our break line for it though was comically small, because Parkitect.
I think that you kind of have to have a little bit either larger than life or like silliness with this art style. It's acceptable.
Right.
Absolutely acceptable.
We like. Well, it's meant to be really cartoony, but we want the rides to look somewhat realistic and kind of similar to the real life counterparts, right? So.
Let's throw some shops in here before people start getting super hungry. Maybe like a cash machine as well.
You could do some depot stuff and some conveyors.
Yeah, we could do that.
Depends
as
where you
well.
put them though, because it's like tricky to. You got to plan for it.
I
which
was
is
just
something-
going to put stuff around like kind of put up a wall behind Skyfall, and then put stuff around the entrance, kind of.
Yeah,
Was what I was gonna
That
do.
always
Like
works.
this pathway right here.
Your deliveries is right there, right? So.
Yeah.
Hutobi, this specific model I believe is a prototype, but it might exist somewhere. Probably either in the States or the UK. Or not the UK, but Europe, so. I don't remember who builds it. I would need to look that up.
I'm pretty sure I've seen photos of it. Like people going, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, this is a thing." There's
There's doors in the back of shops now.
Yeah, I always forget about that, and then I remembered that while I was building it. I was like, "Oh boy, yeah, that's the thing I need to do." And let's just get balloons and then like hot dogs.
Keeps your staff out of the rest of the park.
Yep. Guests don't like a lot of staff walking around, apparently. Which is neat. Also, for people watching, these little paths with the line down the center are staff-only pathways. So guests won't walk on those, which is real neat. And I actually need to get some staff in here now.
Yeah. If you use zoning, the lines change colors too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow, that's a big window.
Yeah, that is a big window. That's fine. Assuming it's supposed to be smaller when you open it.
Yes. I have no idea. It might be also from your user settings, because it will grab from those.
I can't even see the bottom of it, so. And like my.
Yep. That's weird.
Fine. That's fine. Definitely not the end of the world. So, okay, so we got 2 haulers. These guys deliver stuff that get dropped off over at the delivery depot to our shops. So they're gonna.
Oh yeah, we started color coding text.
They're gonna go pick stuff up. Color coding text?
So I think resources are purple and shops are orange and rides are red. I don't know. We just did that.
Hey.
The swinging part, Hutobi, is to simulate a parachute opening. I believe that's the reasoning for that.
I'm just gonna watch this ride because I haven't watched this yet in motion. Oops. And I rotate the camera and lose it. The sky fall. I want to see what it does. You can still pop balloons.
Heck yes.
Oh,
It doesn't drop until like the next one is off the ground for safety reasons.
That makes sense. I think it's just yeah, there it goes. That's cool. I like how it just kind of like lets go at the bottom and then swings out. That's neat.
Yeah. In real life, that brake run is a lot longer. That would hurt actually to ride, but.
Doesn't it? I hesitate to say it doesn't matter, but like, you know, when you're dealing with an art style that's just kind of cutesy, you can, as I said,
I didn't want to make the default height like 10.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a little silly, so.
It's gonna drop in some benches. I'm seeing some people getting tired, wandering around. They probably need water and a bathroom as well. Let's give them that. And the cat's back on my keyboard.
I don't actually know if you can still do that balloon glitch because balloons are a resource, but I think it's in the preview, so I don't know.
There's a balloon glitch? What's this balloon glitch?
Yeah, if you pause the game and then build a lot of balloon stalls. Like build one, delete one, build one, delete one. It used to spawn a ton of balloons.
Oh, and then just
I don't know if that's still a thing.
Everywhere?
Yeah, I don't know if that's still a thing.
I recall doing that with a blueprint.
Yeah, that can happen.
Which was pretty entertaining back in the day. I'm actually gonna build a building around this one over here.
Fog Twitch, there are events, but they're events in like, oh, there was a crash at a nearby theme park, which Blind had, but it was worded differently, so theme park interest is down, or like, there's a heat wave, sell more drinks, kind of thing. There's like a small number of them right now. I have to like go add more flavor text and stuff, so.
Yeah, I think that the random events are very interesting, and I haven't really shown this off much to people watching if you haven't seen it. But this right here, we have like these almost underground conveyor belts, so we can get some factorial. I don't want to say factorial level, but like some factorial light management going on here, where you can bring like these underground like delivery systems to different chunks of your park, so that you can minimize your employee traffic and have different spots where your employees can like get the different resources for the different stalls, which is super
They can
neat.
go above ground too, but I mean, your
Why would you
guests
do
aren't
that?
gonna like that.
Why would you do that?
It's like it's like a negative modifier. That system isn't totally in yet, but like unsightly things are bad and guests don't like them. It's like the counter to scenery, right? Like,
Now, we mentioned this once again before the stream started, but um, I think that people who look at Parkitect and Planet Coaster need to realize the differences. Planet Coaster is a very pretty sandbox for the most part. There is a game there, but everything that I've played of Parkitect ever since Parkitect launched always screamed more management. Like, it's more focused on min-maxing what you're doing, pre-planning, and instead of just the raw design, like there is a very robust building editor in here and a whole lot of assets to build lots of cool things if you want to do the aesthetics. But so that keeps me happy. But,
well, if you open up like the blueprint menu, you can show them. There's like some castles I built in there. There's obviously a lot more in the Steam Workshop, but and stuff. But
probably
like,
some of my old ones too. I keep hitting
yeah.
Z because that's rotate in Planet
Yeah.
Coaster, and I need to stop doing that. Oh, there's a big one.
You can always rebind the keys if you don't like them.
Maybe I'll do that.
And like that, those blueprints can have rides in them, whatever. So
There's a couple castles just to give you an idea.
just fun stuff if you want to build, or like put big structures in your game without having to spend a lot of time building them. Is the point of blueprints.
Just gonna
And
knock
they're
out a
saved
few
into the
pieces.
PNG, so you can share them on Twitter and whatnot. It's not like some zip file or something. It's just the image. It's saved into the pixel data of the image.
My one of my favorite things that this game has done since the very, very, very start, and I need to find them. Where are rocks here?
It should be in nature rocks.
Rocks are scalable. It's one of my favorite things, and the price scales accordingly, which... Okay, I had a stream once where I did nothing but place rocks in Planet Coaster for about 10 hours. So,
We need like a randomized rocks button.
Randomized rocks button?
Oh, why is that pop-up still there? Oh, because you had a rock out.
You mean like when you, how do I explain this? Like in City Skylines when you place a tree and it just gives you a different one at a different angle? Or a slightly different variation of the tree every time? Stuff like that?
Yeah, like if there's a tree brush, I would want it to rotate the trees and place the two different sizes. It's not like Speed Tree where we have like branch trees, which are like little model trees, right? Like Parkitect's art style is supposed to be like, if you look at a theme park map, it's always really cartoony and stylized. Or if you look at like a diorama, right, it's supposed to look like that and be evocative of that. So that's why like our trees can't randomize too much because they're just models, literally. But it will randomize to an extent, and you can, of course, pick the colors of them and stuff. We might open up the trees so they can be any color because pink trees is a cool idea.
Got an extremely neat cat right now. Silly. Trying to climb the walls because I'm ignoring her.
My roommate's cat will talk to me, and I can have a conversation with her.
So she'll meow at you and you just like respond and then she'll meow again. It's kind of
adorable. If I ask her what she's doing, she'll just start talking to me. Start meowing and answering. And if you remove a bridge under a visitor's feet, they will drown if it goes into water.
Do they still get less thirsty if you just leave them in water for a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yes!
I think they will lose thirst.
That was my addition to this game.
I think so. I don't know. Like I haven't checked, or maybe it was in and then like we broke it accidentally. Like it's hard to keep track of all the
Let's find out what's his thirst. Happiness very low. I need to like do better, but see if we can make him a little bit low. Yeah, I need to put him in deeper water.
If it doesn't, I will bug Sebastian about it. I think he's like, oh, it's too shallow.
Need deeper water. Oh, there we go. There's deeper water.
That's pretty deep, but it's outside the park.
Yeah, they get.
Oh, you can put people outside the park.
They get less thirsty. I think. Actually, no. Thirst is going down. Huh?
That's good. That's good.
Wait,
Down
okay,
is good.
that is good. Okay. I don't want to actually kill him. I'll put him
That's
back
pretty
over there.
funny.
That makes me happy. Now I can't see chat at all because there's the rear end of a cat. If you hear purring, I'm sorry. It happens.
It's okay. Cats are nice.
She's in a good mood today, which is good. When she's in a bad mood, she'll just run away. As long as she doesn't knock my coffee over, I'm okay. Guests are reporting they're getting sick. Okay, I need that to last longer. Is there any...
That is a one where food will sell less because food poisoning sucks.
Yes, food poisoning does indeed suck. I can't see my monitor right now because there's literally a cat in
Tuna
front of it.
Mass in 15 to 20 years if open Parkitect becomes a thing, what do you think your reaction will be? I think that'll be really cool if that happens. I would give it my blessing, of course. Cattail. But yeah, I have no idea if that'll happen. I don't know how people will bust open Unity stuff in 20 years, so it would be really cool though.
It's pretty easy to bust open Unity already, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Unity is one of those lovely platforms where it's like, it's just kind of easy to make things work from an outside perspective. It's interesting.
Oh, it's like raising it onto the hill a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll bring that up.
That's not too bad. Just have to like let it sit there for a second. It was like floating downwards. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not working as intended. Let's see what I can do with a little bit of a building here.
Sebastian just messaged me saying he's seeing so many bugs.
You just see them everywhere.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
he wrote the game. He probably knows when something isn't working right.
I mean, I'm not noticing them, so I guess that's a positive.
Yeah. I just don't bring it up. It's all good. Oh yeah, if you play snow, it shouldn't be blown out anymore. I made it a little darker because it used to be just like white.
Ice, snow. Yeah, no, that looks nice. I
Cool,
feel like
'cause before
a lot of the ground textures have been like redone a little bit. I remember. Yeah, no, like they seem
I didn't
to look different to
redo
me.
some of them, but I like the color grading might have changed or the lighting might have changed.
Yeah. Also, did this game have shadows last time I played it?
We made them a lot darker and a lot sharper.
Okay, because I'm really noticing the shadows now.
Last time you played, Unity wasn't super good at what we were doing. Like it wasn't good at rendering that kind of shading, and our camera was kind of messing it up. But they've done some great improvements since then that we've been able to take advantage of. Performance being one of them.
Didn't you switch Unity versions at one point?
Oh, we try to use the latest version of Unity. I don't know if eventually we'll have to stop, but they've been consistently making great improvements that help performance for games like this. So,
janitor, that's what I want. There you go. Clean that up. Do your job. Also, Poofy stuff. How you doing?
you could lock your haulers into that little hallway.
I might do that. Let's mess around with zoning for a little bit here. Where's zoning again?
It's in terraforming.
Is it in terraforming still? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Haven't found a better place for it yet. It might move eventually.
Eventually. One of these days.
When it becomes more important with like scenario stuff coming along, it'll probably move.
Probably add them, because I'm going to put another stall or two over here, so I'll probably get them to go that way as well, through an underground path or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, oh, I see. The edge of the pathway changed color. Neato.
Yeah.
So
It's just like a good way to see zones at a glance, especially for employee areas.
But yeah, no, that's really handy, because I remember the zoning being kind of... Somebody drowned? I didn't put anybody over there.
I guess.
Apparently somebody spawned in the water and died. Something happened.
Oh, that's probably a bug. I don't know how
somebody
that happened.
Spawned over here somehow. Because I put somebody in the water, but I took them out a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, rest in peace. Press F to
pay
respects.
And they have ghosts when they die now.
Oh, what?
Like they got Pikmin style ghosts when they die.
Do they come haunt you?
Nah, they just float
Damn
up
it.
to the sky.
Aw, that would be amazing. If they just like, no, if you had like a haunted house and they just like go and inhabit it, that would just be kind of
Yeah,
awesome. It's a little silly, but I dwell in silliness.
it's a silly game.
That's great. That's why I love it. It's so just carefree. But I mean, games in this genre, or like, I guess in this form, it's not really a genre per se. Like theme park management, it's more like I don't even know if you could call it a genre in and of itself, but like a small part of a wider genre of games.
Yeah, there's like a subgenre in a genre almost.
Yeah, because like theme park management games just have like a very connected fan base, the people who like theme parks definitely gravitate towards them, and I think that's really cool. That's part of the reason why I like them, is because it's generally it's an extremely friendly community of people.
Yeah.
I love them. It's small, but the people who like these games love these games, and it's always cool to see almost a genre come back, because like over the past couple years we've had, well, you guys popped up first in the Kickstarter, and then a little while later we had the announcement of RCT World, and then maybe like 6 months later we had Planet Coaster show up, and it's just been a very interesting little like almost series of events, watching I guess subgenre of games just kind of come back from nothing over the span
Yeah, it's been
of
interesting.
a little bit.
We of course didn't expect that when we made this. It was just like, oh, cool, look at all this stuff. Like,
People are copying us.
well,
Well worked
no,
out.
I mean, I would say we're newcomers into like Frontier has made this kind of game
Yeah.
before, and
It had been a
Atari
couple
has
years.
too.
And then Chris Sawyer again with the RCT Mobile stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
which has
So
been kind of
it's just it's
interesting
cool to see it like kind of come back into the mainstream.
in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you told like I don't know, it's if you told young me playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 or whatever that, oh, hey kid, one day you're gonna make a game called Parkitect and it's kind of like this, and I'd be like, no, what are you
You're gonna go
talking
far,
about?
kid. It's kind of
But yeah, no, it's really cool to see kind of this stuff kind of show up again.
I kind of love it. I think that to an extent, city builders have made a rather large resurgence, thanks to City Skylines, and I think to an extent, thanks to the shortcomings of RCT World, a lot of other people are going, man, we can do this better, and people like Frontier going, hey, there's a market for this again. Also, I totally forgot.
Yeah,
to...
like I mean, it's a business, right? Of course they're considering that. It makes sense. So
I have to put my haulers on.
I mean,
Zone.
like it's just because we're indie doesn't mean we don't consider that stuff. Like
Yeah.
when we have to make decisions and think about what we're doing, it's like, okay, does it make sense to do this from a business standpoint? Because at the end of the day, you need money to make this work, right? Like I feel like that's not talked about a lot, and there might be like some stigma there, and it's like I get that, but it also should be to help people understand what game dev is like. So games are very expensive to make, so
Games are very expensive to make, and they take a very long time.
yeah.
Especially this type of game. I think that it's kind of overlooked sometimes, especially when like bringing it back to the early access topic and when is a game done. It's like, well, games take forever to make, and they're also extremely expensive. So when you're working with a small team, in order to do it right, I'd rather you do it right than vanish. I guess the only concern at that point is funding, right?
Yeah, well, it's funding, and also there's a matter of communication. Like, if you aren't like staying in contact with an audience or doing like development updates, then you can fall into problems. Like with Parkitect, we do a lot of devlogs because we want people to know that we care about Parkitect as an ongoing game kind of thing until it's done. Not that like, oh, it's there, like, will it ever be finished? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, we're posting updates every week on Steam and on our devlog, and we've slowed down with Kickstarter updates because they just started becoming reposts of our devlog, and I mean,
I'm sure most people
some people are probably upset about that, but I'm going to write about that pretty quick. But yeah, it's just like communication is super important for open development and for indie games especially, and early access games especially. And it's something I think we've done really well for Parkitect, is like maintaining that communication and building a relationship with the players and kind of a trust there, right? So
Yeah, I think that's all very important. But like, whenever people start talking to me about early access, I always use you guys as an example of early access that's done right. Because even though, like, you know, I take large breaks from a lot of games, and I'll probably take breaks from Planet Coaster at some point. But I I return to games, and it's just kind of how I work, you know. Like, you guys and RimWorld, I think, are the two big ones that I always refer to as done right. Although RimWorld actually doesn't post updates that frequently. It's just when he does, it is big.
yeah, some people don't, and it works for them. Like we wanted to like let people know what was happening and let them. We didn't want people to start accusing us of never coming out, which I mean it's gonna happen anyways, so whatever. But we just wanted to try and mitigate that as much as possible, I guess.
Plutonium just pointed out that they just walk through the back doors instead of the doors opening.
Oh yeah, that's because, well, I don't think those ones could, but like some doors can open and we just don't. I don't know. I don't think it's super needed right now, at least. Not right now. Like it could come later, but like for now, it just works.
Yeah. The last time we did this discussion, they didn't have doors
You can order
yet.
balloons again. Why couldn't you order balloons?
Wait, what?
There's an event where you couldn't order balloons. Was it food poisoning?
I didn't see it at all. I personally think that those need to stay up longer. They need to do the RimWorld thing where they just kind of fall down to the bottom or something, so that I can click on them.
What does? Sorry.
The events. I think I miss them completely, like every time. And then you pointed out that it happened.
If you click on the exclamation point, you can open the list.
Oh really? Oh
Yeah.
okay. You can order.
But yeah, we could probably let them stay open for a little longer.
A bus dropped off 48 guests. Why couldn't we order balloons?
I think it was the food poisoning one.
Huh. Interesting. Good to know that.
No, it's just the food seems resolved.
Yeah. Well. I
have no idea what caused balloons to be a problem.
Well, we never stopped having balloons, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
We always had.
Oh,
balloons.
supply problem. Sebastian says there's a supply problem, so I guess we just missed it.
Craftbox. This game's been in early access for $20 for the past, year? I think. When was the original early access launch?
20. I don't remember. 2016 or 2015?
I actually can't remember off the top of my head. I can check real easily.
Yeah. But I remember people were like accusing us of missing our Kickstarter date, but we didn't. We were exactly on time.
People accused you of missing your Kickstarter date, but it was because
they're like, "Oh, it's not out yet." I was like, "We released onto Steam Early Access exactly when we said we would." So
May
I was
5th,
like, "Okay."
2016.
It's like, oh, Jurga says it was supply shortage. Okay, so we just missed it.
Okay. Wrong pathway type. Yeah.
There's glass paths underwater. I don't know if that was in last time we played.
No, that was definitely not in the last time we did this. Yeah, you can see if I can just build some pathways underwater. I think I can just.
Oh, when you build shops for that depot, make sure you go into the depot menu by clicking on it and like assigning the shops to it. Otherwise, it's gonna not work.
I remember that, like figuring that out when those were added in, and my brain exploding.
Yeah. When we have a tutorial, it'll kind of go through all the steps. So.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I would say about this game right now is if you're not familiar with this genre, it takes a little bit of fiddling to figure out all the systems immediately.
Have been in our Steam forums and stuff, be like, hey, you guys should really add a tutorial. And we're like, yeah, we probably will. It's something we've got on the list pretty soon. So
I've been subscribed to your Steam forums for a while. I follow a few Steam forums, and so I kind of half keep an eye on it. And yeah, there are some kind of funny questions coming out of there every now and again.
Yeah, it's just Steam forums. I got nothing against it. It's just the way people are.
Yeah, well, as long as people aren't being rude, I think it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've added some new coasters since you played, well, not since you played last, but since I was on here last. Like the
Yep.
accelerator, God, the spinning coaster, the junior coaster, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll definitely build a roller coaster once I get a little further out. I'm gonna need to flatten out some land though, because yeah,
Yeah.
probably put something like right here down by this little pond. I also want to build those submarines. I might just make this little lake deeper and build a submarine. I kind of got this nice bridge and stuff, so.
Yeah. Were you ever in Edmonton when they had those submarines in the mall?
No, I've actually never been to West Ed.
Oh no. Well, they had those submarines are like directly modeled off of those, which don't exist there anymore. But
I've been on the Finding Nemo ride in Disneyland.
yeah,
Those
people pointed
submarines.
that out to me too. They have submarines, and I was like, well, now people are gonna ask me to make those submarines. It's like,
Oopsies.
hello, Pat.
Just buried everything. That's the other one.
Other disasters. You can have if you don't maintain your coasters, you can have crashing. I don't know if it crashes yet, but like brakes failures can happen, and they'll ram each other, and people can die. So
I recall last time. Did they explode? I think is the important question.
they don't explode. No,
Oh.
they just kind of
Bummer.
like bounce. I
Yeah.
think they probably should explode just because that's really funny. But
Just big comical poof.
yeah.
Okay. Now how does this work?
Who told me RCT2 had a good tutorial for building coasters and stuff?
It did have a good tutorial, just no one ever used it.
Yeah, I used it when I was young, and that's kind of how after I played the game for a very long time, I found the tutorial, and I was like, oh, that would have helped. This ride is very large, by the way, so you might want a lot of room.
Yeah, I might need to make this in a bigger area. Okay, I'm just gonna make a lake. I'm just gonna make this bottom half of the map a giant lake then. I'm just gonna do that. Didn't realize how large that was.
They hold a lot of people. You can kind of stuff a bunch of people into a submarine, put some like underwater scenery or something, and then they'll have a good old time.
Might actually just have to drain the lake initially so I can put some underwater scenery in.
Right. There's not a lot of underwater stuff in the game yet, so
just
that's
throw
kind of an
rocks in it.
idea for what we should do. So
Throw rocks in it. That's fine. Like fish in the future, maybe?
maybe, yeah. It might be like Animal Crossing though, where they're just silhouettes.
That's fine. This game's got a little, maybe like a little bit of a Animal Crossing cartoony vibe. All you need is just animals walking around and done. But then you'd be confused about who would be entertainers and whatnot.
Yeah. Sorry, I was telling Sebastian something we should do that I'm noticing right now.
And that is?
You shouldn't be able to affect land outside of your park.
Oh, yeah.
It should just be like cliffs.
Well, it's in sandbox mode, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I didn't even think about it. I mean, I assume that that's not working as intended, but you know.
Well, I mean, it is sort of because we just never told it not to.
Oh, that's fair.
Animal zoo attack. Well, we're probably not going to do a zoo because I'm not going to animate animals.
Also, maybe this is just me, but the zoo games never end up as good as I think people would like them to.
I really liked Zoo Tycoon, the original. I thought that was a really good game.
I have that game like a foot away from me, and I've played it recently, and for some like that game just didn't age well for me. I don't know why.
That's fair. It is an old game at this point.
Like that game's barely playable at this point. Kind of, it's a little rough. I'll put it that way. I think the nicest I can be to it. There we go.
So on the animals thing though, we do have like birds. There's
Yep.
crows and I think tits in the game. Because we thought that was funny.
They just
I want to
flit
add ducks
around.
and geese. Maybe not
Ooh.
geese, but ducks for sure.
If you add
'Cause-
ducks, they have to quack when you click on them.
Yeah, it's a requirement.
Yeah.
I think.
It's a requirement of the genre. Otherwise, it's completely unplayable. Now I need balloon shortage is over. So I think that whenever like whenever you sell a lot of balloons, it's a balloon shortage, I guess. I guess people are buying a lot of my balloons. I should probably put garbage bins down.
Maybe. Oh yeah, you don't have a lot of litter, I guess, but you might be selling stuff that doesn't generate a lot of litter.
Yeah, I haven't noticed garbage. Usually when I start seeing garbage is when I start putting down garbage bins, but also I love these little
Actually-
double ones.
Oh yeah, they hold a lot of garbage.
Look
That's
cool.
the purpose of them. They're more expensive, but hold a lot of garbage.
Sandbox. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Man. I love watching games grow slowly over time. Like, there's so many, like, little changes. Like, just the UI alone just looks and feels so much better now. Everything is so much crisper and easier to read. Since, like,
Yeah,
when was the big
I'm
UI
sure Gabby would
overhaul?
be happy to hear that. It's a lot more like I would call professional because I'm not a UI or UX person, so it's just kind of like whatever worked. So
Yeah, because I remember always not really a complaint, I guess, but like always one of my issues with this game when I first played it was like, man, the UI just feels clunky. It was always like a little rough around the UI, but it just plays so well. It just looks so nice now, I guess.
building that thing underwater.
I built it fully underwater. I'm having a hard time figuring out where it's supposed to be at.
Yeah,
Am I
the
above
way it
water
works.
right now, or?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
The way the submarine works is it only works if there's water at station level.
Okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't. It closes. I think that's how water rides work, but there's no water rides in the game.
Well, you've got a massive selling point against Planet Coaster now, because they got none.
Oh, they'll eventually add it, I'm sure.
Well, until now,
Yeah,
right,
go-karts.
right now, water doesn't actually exist in that game. It's just a texture.
Yeah.
It has no consequence whatsoever. You
Well,
splash.
it's hard to do water in these games. Like, our water took a while. You might want to lower this thing, because it's going to be at, like, the water is, like, just above half on it by default.
Oh, okay. I can't tell if it's, like, above water or not. in
Yeah,
this
the
blue
ghost
state.
makes it kind of hard to see
So I
where it
should
is.
slope it down a little bit.
Yeah, just, like, 1 or 2 segments.
Okay. I do remember
It is-
finding the half and quarter slopes a little confusing when I first played this game. So there's a lot of depth here. If you're one of those people who's like, I need my coaster designers to be perfect. Like there's a lot of depth here. Like you can do a lot of different things. Beautiful.
Yeah, we're kind of looking into ways to make that a little easier to finish rides and stuff, but nothing confirmed as of yet.
Let's just pop back up. But you know, some of that for me at least might have been the UI originally.
Yeah, it's certainly getting better.
Missed it. Let's go back to here. Just, actually that's a little early. Also, to the people watching right now, I don't know how well you can hear the music, but this game's got some music. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Yeah, so we're currently in the process of rewriting the audio stuff. Gordon has Chris Tamik writing his own audio tool, so we can do all the middleware for the audio in Parkitect.
Cool.
Because the software we're using now isn't quite doing it for us, and it's causing some problems. So the reason the audio is a little janky and hard to hear sometimes is because it's in the middle of being like re-implemented.
Let's just let this do a test run. I've got 2 submarines in this thing now. This is a huge ride. Wow.
Yeah, they're big.
As long as it's like 80% submerged, I'm happy with. By the time
It'll be completely underwater with the depth you put it in.
Okay, that's fine.
In real life, they don't submerge the tower for emergency exit reasons.
The tower's still out. We're good.
Okay.
Cool. That looks really neat, actually.
Yep. Pretty cool. I made this ride actually a while ago, but we hadn't really designed how water was gonna work, so we kind of just got to it finally. Well, how water would work in relation to rides.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we know how water works, but
I mean, it flows, right?
yeah. So
Well,
that was like a recent improvement.
I mean, I still maintain that water's only been done perfectly once or twice in video game history, just ever, you know?
It's really hard to do. There's like, I don't remember, but I think there's like a Tumblr dedicated to video game water, and I think that's funny and awesome.
I mean, there's a Tumblr dedicated to everything if you pay enough attention.
I'm still really into Half-Life 1's water. I think that stuff is cool.
I think Half-Life 1 has really good water. I think Morrowind has very underrated water.
Oh man, I can barely remember what it was like in Morrowind.
The only reason I remember Morrowind's water is because I was watching a good old game stream very recently of Morrowind. I was like, oh my god, I forgot how that water looked.
It's a good game. I hope the next Elder Scrolls game is that cool.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's just another Skyrim, I'm probably not gonna play it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll play it just because I'm a huge fanboy of that stuff.
I've found Bethesda RPGs to be less and less interesting as the years go by, you know?
Well, they just kind of get generalized. Craftbox says the source engine is good water. I disagree. It's a plane with water effects under it. I think it's kind of bad, actually.
Trying to think of a recent source game that had water in it.
Well, Half-Life 2, but it was just literally a plane. And having used the hammer editor, it's just like you place a brush, a primitive of water, and assign the water entity to it, and the texture, a water texture to it, and then it's water.
So Kryptonian has a feature
doesn't do anything.
Ripples from partial submersion. But when they're partially submerged, he wants the water to ripple. I think it kind of does a little bit.
Well, we got the border ripples, but yeah, I think we could add like a trail to the tower or something. Maybe we could use probably the log flume one. I'll ask Sebastian.
Like Wind Waker-esque, like water parting.
Well, have you seen the log flume trails? It's pretty much that.
If they were in last time, I remember them having some sort of trail. Definitely. I'm out of coffee, and this is a sad state of affairs. Go water though. Just extremely thirsty for some reason.
A lot of talking.
Yeah. The amount of water I drink while streaming is a little bit ridiculous.
It's important though, man. You gotta stay hydrated.
I'm going to just reach out to chat right now and just say, if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want to throw at Garret for any reason, like assuming it's related to the game and early access, feel free, because I only have so many questions. Because I did, like, we have done this once before, to anybody who's newer to the channel. I know for a fact that there's a lot of you here watching right now who definitely did not see the last one. So if you're newer and you missed the last one, I've already basically dumped out the majority of questions I have about the game itself. So now for me, most of my questions are just related to early access, and we've already been talking about that a whole bunch. And then of course, like, you know, just comparisons with other games, or the other game, I guess, in the subgenre at this point. Also, this is just a comment, but I feel like the game runs a lot better now. Because at this point, I'd be losing frames before, and I'm still sitting at a solid 60.
Unity has made some significant improvements, and Sebastian has made some significant improvements. If you were to load up, like, I think there's some, like, pretty dense parks. They might still be kind of slow, but they're a lot better than they used to be. He's done a lot of stuff to make guests work well, and all the stuff on screen work really well. So, like, his pride and joy is the performance of this game.
Yeah.
When it's not the game in general.
I think that games running nicely is definitely a bonus. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they do sell plushies in the souvenir thing, right? Cowboy hats, sombreros, pirate hats.
It's mostly hats.
Yeah, it's mostly hats. Couldn't remember if there was any plushies in there, because Crocodile asked about plushies. Hey kitty, stop scratching me.
Cool watermelon. That's my favorite hat.
Cool watermelon? It's like half a watermelon or something?
Yeah, it's just the watermelon. It's just... I don't remember. I think it was a joke, but I don't remember what the joke was in reference to. There was a game, but I can't remember the game.
You said that the game had a cartoony feel, but you also said that having lots of staff management... So, Cyclone has a question in chat.
Ride ops. Not to the level you're thinking, but the original concept had us putting ride ops in the booths that are next to the ride, like the entrance booth. And we're probably still going to have it, so when you build a ride op is automatically hired for it, and you just kind of need to watch their satisfaction, and we're still kind of in debate if we want them to take breaks, and you have to like do shifts for them. So
That would
take
be
that with a grain
interesting.
of salt. But like there's cashiers in shops who kind of wander over to their shop, there will be ride ops that kind of wander over to their ride.
Like if
Peeps Pathfind using, God, what is it? It uses the grid. This is a Sebastian question, and like he's not on chat, so he might be. I don't know. God, I don't remember the technical details, but they pathfind using the grid. So like grid tile to grid tile, and they will take transports into account if they need to get to a ride across the park, and you have like a transport. They'll like, oh, I'll take the train because it's faster. If you give them a map through the information booth, they will use that to kind of find rides. Otherwise, they just wander around and pick rides a lot slower, kind of thing. So
I'm not sure if Seb's paying attention, but he is in the chat. I do see his Twitch.
yeah, he's
chat.
probably just watching for bugs. I think it might be a store. I don't know. Like, I haven't really gotten involved with the code of this game because it's beyond me. So
You're
I
the
just make it look pretty.
mastermind behind the art.
Yeah, I just make it look nice.
There we go. I got the wall to not hover up a little bit that time.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Took like 3 tries. I think the fence was getting in the way. I don't know. It seemed to work when I deleted the fence that was there, so. I don't know.
I keep thinking about the cartoon Arthur when I see the square balloons now. It's like, how do you get a square balloon? Well, you blow square breaths. It's just, I don't know, it's just really funny.
Logic.
I don't think game artist is a female stereotype. In fact, most of the artists I've met have been men, and I don't know why that is.
Like, that's an odd stereotype. Where did you get that from? Sometimes they're random. Oh, there's some.
Twitch integration? There is a mod for Twitch integration that will allow chat members to appear as guests and to say things in the notification box. But I don't know the last time that was updated.
I did use that at one point. Yeah, and again, I don't know when that was updated.
Yeah, and it's like the game's changed a lot since then.
Bits
there are
for
some
balloons? Oh boy. Man.
Guests really like balloons, man. It makes them happy. That's why they buy so many.
I think he's referring to like Twitch chat integration there. Wow, they don't just buy balloons, like they buy like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 balloons. Like they don't just buy one balloon, they buy like a handful. Which is
man,
kind of crazy.
More balloons is good. Look at that guy. He's got like some bugged squishy balloons. I don't know how that happened.
Is that not working as intended? I have this feeling.
Yeah, there's some weird shapes happening there because they squish.
Kind of funny.
I don't know.
That's amusing. Also,
but yeah, the more balloons, the better. The happier they are.
You can pop balloons on the balloon stall, and
just click them.
The best part, it's opening the cotton candy stall. Problem. There we go. The best
Oh,
part
yeah,
is it comes out of your stock, so it actually costs you money to do that.
You're costing yourself a small amount of money.
Just
every time.
Worth it.
If you pop balloons on a guest, it makes them sad too.
Of course.
They have like little thought. Oh, if you click on a guest, and you go into their thoughts, we changed it so you can see where they had the thoughts now.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Like a little icon pops up, so you can be like, oh, okay, so they were thinking this here. And...
What a cute raptor!
Yeah, so you just like little smiley faces everywhere.
Speaking of raptor, I need to hire some more entertainers. I really like. Ooh, there's a robot one.
Yeah, he came along with the, well, a little while after, but with the rocket ship and stuff.
Okay.
Can I slap people? No. You can ban them or pick them up. About it.
Man, that would be amazing if you could slap people like in Dungeon Keeper, but almost the wrong style of game. You can drown them.
You can murder them. Everybody loves the entertainers. They like have unique thoughts for each costume.
pause
A
this.
nearby theme park opened a new ride, which will attract a lot of guests. That needs a rewrite. That sounds like a benefit. When we add the icons into them, it'll be better.
Which will steal your business, sad face.
Yeah.
You better one them up. Or something. God, I love the robots. I don't think I've seen that dude before.
He's
that is
pretty
adorable.
goofy. The animation's a little strange, but yeah.
That's...
You can actually build in scenery a little ticket booth for your entrance, because we weren't sure how we wanted that to work.
Okay.
So like those kind of entrances, you have like an entrance, a ticket booth, an entrance. So.
Oh really?
That's kind of based off the one here at Playland. I don't know if you've
Gotcha.
been there.
Where do I get that from? The building
Just
menu?
scenery.
Deco or?
Yeah, deco. I think it's in medium or large. Unless there's a new building for it. Or a new building section for it. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. It's in medium, I think. Or you could just search for it.
Oh, there we
I
go.
keep
Entrance
forgetting that this
booth.
search.
So which direction do I point this?
Wherever you want. Oh, yeah, the deco window minimizes now too. I'm sure you noticed that.
Yeah.
To get out of the way. It kind of is a little bugged right now, but it's okay.
Now do I have to get employee to that? Or
No, it's just like a role play thing, right? Like,
oh, okay, so it's just the look of it. Gotcha.
just to make it look
So
like an actual
it
entrance.
is literally just scenery then. Cool. I wasn't
Yep.
sure if that was a management thing that I forgot.
We made it so like people who might want to have a realistic style gate entrance like that would have ticket booths.
Gotcha.
So, without like making a weird system to kind of force it in there.
Cool. Toss like 2 down.
You can change your grid snap with like alt numbers too.
Alt numbers?
Yeah, if you press alt and press 1, 2, 3, 4
Oh, really?
up to 9. Yeah.
I need to see this now. Oh wow. Jeez. Okay.
And
I
if you
didn't
click
know
the
that.
same, if you click the same one twice, it switches between grid corner and grid center.
I will be right back. I think my cat really wants to be fed. Just give me a second
Okay.
here.
I will answer questions. I can't pronounce your name. Whoever said they have an idea that is completely useless, but shoot. This is my stream now. I cannot control it, but it is mine. Shrank? Okay, I'll call you Shrank.
I'm back. Also, hi.
Dang. I was gonna steal your stream, even though I have no control over anything.
What, were you remotely installing TeamViewer? And Chicken Nugget, how you doing, dude?
In options, you should be able to. There should be like a rebind thing in controls if you just scroll through it. I don't play on a Mac, so I can't honestly answer that question too well, which means I'm terrible at being a community guy, but whatever. I do a lot of things in this game.
I need to pop this balloon. This is important. There we go. I had to pause the game to pop a balloon. It's important. I have serious.
Oh, the
priorities.
flying because someone dropped their balloon.
Yeah, it was flying away, so I had to pop it. Anyways, so the cat is just like doing her best to distract me and climb the walls and be a mean animal right now.
Such is life as a cat.
Yeah, well, how can I
Yes,
annoy
this game-
owner today?
Yeah. Plutonium, this game does support Linux. It's on PC, Mac, and Linux. There might be some like weird bugs though, because that just happens from time to time. So, but yes, you can play it on Linux and Mac.
Is the porting work for like just Unity games not that complicated to get it on all three, or is it like actually?
I can't
a
answer
seamless
this with any
process?
level of certainty, but I know for Mac and Linux, certain times Sebastian he always tests them to make sure they work.
Okay.
But he does have to change the shaders from time to time and just make sure like graphically the game operates properly, which isn't always the case.
I've been wondering for a while about that, because every now and again I'll see Unity games come out and it's like only supports Windows. It's like, wait, what? Why?
Yeah, some engines are better at it than others. Like Crutonium, if you get it and you just notice any problems, just send us an email. There's a contact button in the main menu, because then we can do our best to fix it.
Also, you know, if you're just if you're one of the people who maybe wants to play a game like the popular game that's out right now, Planet Coaster, but it's maybe a little bit cheaper, has a little bit more management. That's kind of like whenever I see people in my chat and when I'm streaming Planet Coaster or something else, and they're like, "Man, I want a theme park game that has more management." I always try and point them towards Parkitect, and I'm amazed at how many people actually either are completely unaware of this game's existence. Carousel broke down. Blasphemy. Fix it. Anyways,
It's pretty funny when it breaks down if you've got audio on.
it went.
And then it plays like super slow-mo and it
really?
sounds horrifying.
Oh, you're not wrong. that is actually kind of horrifying.
Yeah, and while a ride is broken, your kind of exclamation point alert tracker will keep a notification on it. And it goes into ongoing, but it also keeps the little red dot.
Little exclamation point has like the little one next to it, which I really like. I really like that.
Just something to let you know that there's something going on right now.
Yeah. I do personally wish that the like this is just like me. I don't see very well and I miss things. So like if I wasn't paying attention to the audio, I would completely miss those random events. I think that those need to be a little bit more obvious, at least from my point
Well,
of view.
the alert sound is pretty loud. I don't know, like if you're streaming, you might have the volume down.
Yeah.
I play with volume down, like, and they can be missed. So, but at the same time, I don't want to put something that like flashes the whole screen. It's like, oh god, what the?
Well, like
right?
you've got like that tiny little like red one, right? Maybe for the random events, just have like a little yellow one right next to it. Like even something that small that I can just check, or like if I stand up or something and miss it.
Yeah.
That's all I would recommend for me personally. That's all I'd want. Nothing more than that. Drop in a info booth. Now, do I have to deliver anything to the info kiosk? Deliver maps, right?
No, they always have stock.
Okay.
Because
Wondering
it's
about
kind of
that.
like it affects gameplay, so they just exist.
And now we have to wait for the shopkeeper to show up. There's this little dude.
Well, affects gameplay. It's just useful. It's like a freebie that kind of helps get around.
Yeah, I always forget to build those for some reason. I'm gonna get back to working on this little building over here now that I've got that submarine up and running. It appears like some people are going on. Yep, 0 in queue. Want something a bit more intense than ferries. Let's drop the price on this. Oops, not to $100. For 0. 1, 0. There we go. 1.0. $1.
$100 to ride a submarine. They might pay that if you make it more like really exciting.
Now, how would I make it more exciting? By dropping more scenery around it?
I don't think that does it right now, but I think
Okay.
that would be the general idea.
Hmm.
Build another ride near it, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Well, we got the not Ferris wheel, the merry-go-round, but that broke down. I think we need to build something a little bit intense.
I think you should build a roller coaster.
Okay, I should build a roller coaster. Been too long.
Your park's kind of small, but so you might not want to build something huge. But
How
you
about a
could-
log flume? Or we could do a junior. I haven't built one of those before.
Yeah, it took so long to get the junior in. I should have done that first. But we wanted to have the unique coasters in. There's a mine train. That's cool. Go karts.
Now that's question is, where do I want to toss this? We got like that crew area over there. We got the merry-go-round. I think I'm actually just gonna flatten out a bunch of land and we'll put it over here.
Oh, a lightning storm.
Yeah, I like the thunder sounds. I don't remember those.
Yeah, they're newer. If thunder hits your coasters, it damages them.
Wait, what?
It lowers their safety a little bit.
That's kind of funny.
If lightning hits your guests, well, you'll just have to see. You might actually see someone get hit by lightning. It's not exactly uncommon.
Saw some lightning strike down there. It was like a little black hole.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the people, see if anybody gets hit. I'm curious.
You
now.
will know. You will know. It's pretty strange looking.
Oh, there we go.
You got no umbrellas.
Very high intense rides. Oh no, that's the problem. So buses are dropping off people that prefer intense rides. So.
Yeah, the grammar is not good because that's placeholder text.
Eh.
I haven't like done some copywriting on it and stuff. You turn a zombie pigman? No. I get that reference.
I don't.
It's Minecraft.
Ah.
Well, now you're building a mini coaster, which is even smaller than the junior.
Oh, did I miss the junior?
This is
Okay,
the baby
the wrong one.
coaster. For babies.
The baby coaster for babies?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I clicked the mini instead of the junior. That's my bad. Can I do like rotating chain lifts on this?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I can. Cool. These nice little guys can do that. Just back you up by one.
Yeah, because this ride uses friction wheels and not a chain.
Yeah,
So.
so you can like go around the corners. I've always loved.
Oh, that's a bug.
What did it do?
It collided.
Oh, like with the end of it?
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Shh.
I totally didn't
That
notice.
stupid bug. We fixed it so many times and it keeps coming back.
Isn't that what bugs do?
Yeah.
Just remove them.
You
and they
patch a
come
bug
back?
and you get 40 more bugs. Oh, PokerStar, like, I got no idea how many lines of code because it's split into a lot of different C# files. But it's written in C# because Unity is a C# engine.
Kind of trying to decide what I want to do with this.
Yeah, a lot of options. I like this coaster a lot because it's a good, like, introductory coaster for people.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of the options of bigger coasters, but it's limited to a much smaller scale.
Yeah. So like, you're more limited in like your heights and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like I don't want to do anything too crazy because that would just be weird. I feel like I've gone too high up already.
No, you're fine. It's only, what, 7 and a quarter units?
Units?
I'm trying to think of how big I think a tile is 4 meters.
Okay.
If we were to, like, translate it.
It's like 20 meters. That's pretty tall.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna drop
yes,
it down
and
to,
also
like, 2.
Parkitect scale is really weird. So, are there Easter eggs in the game? Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you what they are.
That would ruin the purpose of Easter eggs now, wouldn't it? I remember outing one Easter egg last time we talked.
Yeah.
It was a couple that we outed. So, go watch.
I
the last
mean, I can
individual
tell you that
YouTube
there's
video.
like specific guests that are unique. Like, of course, myself and the other devs are in the game, but like, stuff happens with lightning and drowning guests is, I guess, an Easter egg, but everybody knows about it. So
People get less thirsty if you put them in water.
yeah, well, I mean, you requested that. So.
Yeah. That I would hardly call that a request. That was more like just a offhanded comment that I guess Sebastian thought was funny.
Yeah. No, we enjoy goofy things to just put little silly things in the game because it's funny to find them, right? It's fun.
It's just something nice and spinny. Flatten you out. Hey, there we go.
The new curve borders. The new curve borders are part of the metal roof set from what's his? God, I'm blanking on names. Stolje. Yeah, they're meant to go with his metal roofs, but I could probably make them matte.
Also, how you doing,
Yep, that's
Dr. Boo? How's things, man? Dr. Boo is another broadcaster on Twitch. Cool dude. What can I do with this
Okay.
little thing?
Just make a nice simple.
I'm just gonna kind of do like a little figure 8 underneath itself and then send it back in. And maybe wrap it around the outside again. Do like a little over the water pass by. And call it.
Yeah, it's a nice little enjoyable ride. Kind of, it's probably going to be like a mid-intensity coaster, I would guess, judging from the way it looks.
Doesn't need to be super heavily intense or anything. I could actually do like a little,
The excitement will be pretty good, I think.
do a little helix up, if anything. Hop over itself.
Yeah.
Maybe. If I have the height. I don't know if I do. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you should be alright.
Let's just flatten out this tilting. I don't want like straight paths with like tilt. That'd be weird. There we go. It's like a little... I'd ride that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Not gonna horribly kill anybody. Okay, So the UI for the roller coaster editor has like definitely had a complete overhaul, and I really like it.
Yeah, it's a little cleaned up. We added some sections in there. Gabby did a bunch of cleaning in the art. It's still kind of a huge window, but I mean, there's a lot of tools to play with.
So I'm just kind of like, once again, to anybody in chat, if you have any questions or any like related to, I guess, early access or developing a game in early access, because that's kind of like the main topics that I'm interested in today, just for discussing, because, you know, like, you guys have been in early access for
yeah, we've got
basically
some
a year now, and I've always kind of held you guys up at least as the as an example of doing early access correctly, because as I mentioned earlier in this stream, I always know what you guys are doing, regardless of whether I'm playing the game or not, because the updates are just, they're so frequent, and they're just always, you're always explaining what you're doing exactly. So
yeah. To answer Shrank there, that could be like a thought for a guest. We couldn't have like an animation, because I don't want to spend a lot of time working on something that 1% of people will see. So
isn't that something that you do post-release in the ninja patch in?
For like Easter eggs?
Sneaking in silly stuff.
Yeah, if we like have time, or if we think it's really funny, we'll do it.
That's the beauty of like being able to patch a thing, right? You could theoretically just sneak silly stuff in and post. There we go. I think I finally got my layout here, so I can start talking again.
Returning asked about Steam sales. I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to talk about that.
I mean, like, there's what Steam Spy has, but that doesn't take private accounts into account. So.
Well, he's asking specifically on like if I find out about sales before they happen, and it's like, well, logically that would be correct, because like how else would I know?
Would you know?
Like
yeah.
games end up in a sale, right? Like, so.
Yeah, well, like guys, don't try and ask questions that would be like, you know, things that shouldn't.
I can answer like some things, but like things that go into like Steam and stuff is like, well, I've signed papers and I can't talk about that. So
well, that makes
like,
sense. So
yeah.
What is the current status on like how a campaign or a single player like finished product would work? Like, do you have any ideas on where that is currently? Like anything you can talk about there?
Myself and Gabby have started working on art for what that's going to look like. So in a couple months, you guys should be able to see kind of what we're getting into there. I mean, what Luke, Tim, and Sebastian are working on with like events and like scenario goals and stuff is kind of like the beginning of that too, into what will eventually become the scenarios. I think I've talked about it before, but it's going to be like quite similar to like, I guess, RCT, where it's like, all right, you've got to have like a certain park value for X amount of months, or you've got to have this population with this kind of like value with a ride doing this well, stuff like that, right? So, but we've also got things like bonus goals, which you don't have to do, which are like totally optional, and you don't need them to beat the game, but they definitely give you some benefits for doing them.
Okay. Is
So
it
like company improvements, finger quotes, like your employees work faster or something. So
now? The way that Planet Coaster does their scenarios is it's just kind of like, here is a level pack kind of thing. Now, are you thinking about doing it more in terms of level packs, or in
we've
terms of
planned it
like a
out to be like
story-based thing?
progression. There's I wouldn't say there's story, but
Oh.
it's like to get to farther levels, you have to beat earlier levels.
Okay.
So there is a progression through an amount of levels that is sort of linear, but there's some elements of it that aren't. But it's not like here's just a big bunch of levels that you can do. There's definitely like an order to it and an intended kind of way of going through it.
Okay.
So
Slow this down like less suddenly.
spam marketing. Marketing has diminishing returns. If you spam it, you'll get bad results.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there goes all my
When you finish
strategies
it,
then.
if you finish a campaign, it tells you how effective it was, and if you keep doing it over and over, people get bored, and you'll start seeing bad results. What about what percentage of the game is done?
Is that even possible?
This is a very difficult question, you know. But like,
How about what percentage of what you have planned is done? Like that might be answerable.
I'd say over 50%. But I don't know if I can get more specific than that, just because I don't really know without talking to Sebastian about it for some time.
That's fair.
But again, like in games, the last like 80 to 90%, or sorry, the last 10 to 20%, takes a really long time because it's a lot of polish and testing and stuff like that.
I think I broke it.
Did you break it? How'd you break it?
I think I disconnected it.
Oh, did it crash? Yeah.
Yeah, I disconnected it.
There's a bank there that isn't matching. We need to add like a symbol for disconnected bankings
I think
or disconnected
I know what I
tracks.
did wrong too. Okay, let's, because I had it connected and then I changed the brake, so it must have disconnected when I changed the brake.
Yeah, because the brake overwrites banking.
Hmm. Okay. Well, it wasn't banked, but regardless.
Oh, there's like I don't know. It just looked like a weird little disconnect.
Something broke somewhere. Maybe it had like a 1% bank on it or something. The guests in RCT are way simpler than the guests in even this game. Like,
They were pretty smart for the time, but they basically just go tile to tile, and if anything is interesting on that tile, they'll make a choice if they want to do it or not, depending on their needs. In Parkitect, they tend to look at the whole park, and I think they did to an extent in Roller Coaster Tycoon. Not Chris Sawyer, I don't know. But in our game, they will, like, if they have a map, they'll examine the whole park and pick where they want to go. They'll pick a ride that fits their needs, and they'll go ride it. They'll take a transport over there if they have to, or even without a map, they'll kind of examine the whole park. They just pick destinations a lot less frequently. They tend to wander more too.
And if you, I was spamming hotkeys. There we go. I made everything invisible. If you select them, you can actually like get quite a bit of information about where they've been. This guy's been in the park for a while. He's been everywhere like 5 times. But
yeah, you'll get their like map. Which we're gonna change this a little bit so it fades based on time.
Okay.
Or there might be like a little slider at the top, which we'll do eventually. So you can slide through their timeline and it starts fading out the line and stuff like that.
So like it's kind of neat. Like it even gives you the time of where they were. So this guy came into the park, entered at like I guess at the time that he entered, went straight and bought a coffee. So this guy's clearly me. Went and hung out.
He knows what he needs. He's like, damn, I don't know why I'm here. I'm gonna buy a coffee.
went over and sat down on a bench for a bit, drank his coffee. I think is what he did, or am I reading this backwards?
He went there and then he went to a different bench.
Yeah.
Than
okay.
you had, but he did do that. And then he went and got a map and then went to a different bench.
Yeah, he went and got a map and then sat down again, and then I think went on Skyfall. So
yeah,
basically this guest is me. Salvador McKnight is me. But like you can get you can get a decent idea of how the AI works, I guess, just by looking at them and following them around.
They'll have like, if you click on them, there's a little bar at the bottom of their window, and it'll tell you if they're heading towards something specific, or if they're just wandering.
This person's just wandering currently. When they first came in, they entered the park. They went straight and bought a park map. Then they went and bought a balloon. Then they took a rest because that was the hardest thing.
Important to have a balloon, man.
Yeah, balloons are
balloons.
Bought fries, took another rest, bought another balloon, took a rest. Like, hasn't even been on a ride yet. Is just buying stuff and sitting down. But you know, whatever makes you happy. So my dad.
Yeah. So the thing with that is there might not be a ride that fits his requirements. He might want a high intensity ride.
Yeah.
And Skyfall is there, but he might want a coaster, right? So.
Yeah. Probably what it is. I still think that's funny. First thing he does, goes buys coffee. It's like, wow, this is actually me. Okay.
In the sidebar in one of them, it's either the eye or the entrance or the guests. You can do market research, which will give you a handy little graph telling you what percentage of your guests like certain intensities and stuff like that.
Yeah, how am I gonna do this? I kind of want to put this whole thing in a building, or like partially in a building for the pathway. So
the little entrance building.
Yeah, I like doing that stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of spread this pathway out a little bit. Also, so I've got this old color here. So did those people in chat who are like me, who like spending hours decorating things, you can just like literally use the color droplet tool. Just like grab color from anything and then just like repaint it onto whatever you want. Or just like maybe go in and tweak it a little bit on the color wheel. Like when this was added in, like my brain exploded a little bit. I was like, I never knew that I needed all of this.
You can also use the brush to individually paint tracks in roller coaster cars.
It's perfect. Which is still impressive for the time, Crotonium, in relation to guest space being weighted RNG, right?
In games, it's often like a very simple solution to make a very complex task. That's kind of just video game AI for you. It's like simple things, making things look complicated.
Okay, let's see what this ride does over here. I never did finish this.
Yeah, take a look at the stats. I can tell you if it'll do anything.
It's got medium, very low, I think.
Okay,
Or
so
low,
not one
very
for the thrill seekers, but it's a medium excitement means people will ride it.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, that's.
I remember at least when I first started playing this game and when I played the most of it, it was still really hard to tell if people were actually interested in riding my rides, depending on the ratings. So.
It's a constant challenge to make sure guests have the right interest level in rides, because each of them has their own personalities and their own preferences in rides.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we definitely try to make sure that they're riding coasters and lining up for rides, but it also depends on how you set up your paths and how you set up your park. So like, if you were to run advertising, it might help. If you were to like somehow get guests over there quicker, it might help. Eventually, they'll find their way to it. So.
Campaigns, there we go. Park advertisement, attraction advertisement, select attraction. Do I just, oh, that's neat. You literally just like drop it on. Let's do, not 6 months, let's do 3 months. And we're gonna advertise on social media.
Yeah, man, get those Twitter followers.
Yeah, get all the Twitter followers. That's what I know. That's what we're doing right now. We're advertising on social media.
Yeah, pretty much. We just got really meta.
All about that meta.
It'll come up with a notification when it's done telling you how good it was.
Cool. So are certain types, so I'm gonna ask a question about the like advertising for a moment here. Are certain different types of campaigns better for certain attractions?
Like,
does that matter?
It kind of like, they're kind of just tiered in that some are more effective based on their price point, right? Like, flyers are cheaper than running a social media campaign, and social media is cheaper than running a television campaign. But of course, each one has a different amount of reach, right? So
gotcha.
It's kind of like real life marketing. It's kind of a crapshoot, right? It's luck based. And of course, if you try to spam it or the same thing over and over, it's diminishing returns because the first one didn't work. So, well, it might have worked, but it's just like people don't want to see it all the time, right?
Especially if you're just spamming Reddit like Crotonium just
Yeah,
did.
yeah. There's a notification to stop spamming Reddit.
There's a supply shortage of potatoes. Prices increased by 22%. So I guess
Yeah.
French fries are going to be more expensive for me to produce.
Mm-hmm. Or anything that uses potatoes. I don't know if anything else does.
Yeah, no, you have no idea. Wait.
Nobody's really going on those subs though. I wonder if they just like lost interest or if the.
There was some people initially.
I think it's like a very specific kind of ride that people might not be into. There seems to be people enjoying that coaster though. You can always check the thoughts.
I did see a
and
few
it's always
people.
just like...
There was a few people online. There's 2 people saying they want to go on submarines in the recent thoughts. Satisfaction is 61%. Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's because it's a 1.1 intensity and that's extremely low. So I mean,
So
might just mean you have to bump it up a bit.
Should I have made it go up and down a little bit, or?
No. It's it doesn't. The way it's balanced is the slopes don't matter. What matters for a submarine, and here's spoilers, is ride length.
Okay.
And turns per minute.
Can they go underground?
Yes.
Because I could totally make this way longer if I can go underground.
Yeah. So every tracked ride has different weighting for balance.
I am going to make this go underground. Because I want to do that now.
So like the tracked rides balance here, I'm gonna open up the submarine right now. It's just graphs. It's just literally graphs. I actually, how is intensity ran in this? Oh, the multipliers. I'm gonna ask. Sebastian will have to give me a crash course on how that works. But anyways, excitement looked fine to me.
Let's do this.
You're gonna need a lot of clearance though, because it's a submarine.
I got it. Okay, so for the hill, we're gonna have to, let's do some of this. No one will ever know that it's right underneath the roller coaster. I think I'm making this work. There we go. I think I made that work. Just gonna have to reconnect it now.
The spooky dark tunnel.
Yeah, the spoopy dark tunnel. That's where the actual ride is, you know? Because you go into this dark, like, scary tunnel, and then that's where all the flashing lights and dark ride stuff is that I can't build goes. I'm actually just gonna change the ground a little bit in here. Let's do that all this. Do that all that. There we go. So that's at 2.1. Great. How can I do this? Let's go over to this side. Delete that.
It's kind of like an underwater monorail, but it's not a transport. So it's regarded differently by the guests.
Underwater monorail. Huh. Guess that's one way to put it.
2 and an 8. You're not quite there.
Do I
Nope.
have to go up more?
Extend
or?
that. Flatten it. And extend it a little bit.
I think I got it.
You gotta like do that till it
Yeah.
matches 2 1/4.
I've got it now. Oopsies. Let's just delete the other one. Boom. I have to shrink that. Go this way. Do forward. And over, I can change the ground around that later. Cool. Give that a test run. A little bit longer now. By that I mean a lot longer.
Well, it'll make the excitement higher as long as you didn't make it too long.
Hope I didn't make it too long.
Just goes into this tunnel.
It just vanishes, you know? Like, the whole point, right? I kind of like it, so I'll be sad if if it's just too long now. May have, like, overkilled it. Maybe. Just a little bit.
It's probably fine.
It's the worst that could happen. Nobody goes on it, right?
lose money.
That's sandbox. I'm currently negative 1,314. At some point,
It's like good.
I really do need to just sit down and learn how your management systems work, because I've always played this just as a design sandbox.
You've got to like micromanage the prices a little bit,
Yeah.
and like look at advertising and loans and stuff like that.
So does it work on a price to intensity level, or is it?
Yeah, it's based on how well the ride stats match the preferred stats of the guest and how much money they have and how much they're willing to spend.
Okay. Because I know
It changes.
I've gotten to the point with like RCT2, for example, where I can literally just be like, well, I know what the excitement of this ride is, so for 1 year I can have it at this, for next year I can have it at this, the next year I can have it at this.
It doesn't work that way
But-
because every guest is different in our game.
Gotcha.
It's not just like based on like, oh hey, this has this, so you can price it this. It's like, no, this one guest might pay a lot for that because it's a perfect match for them, right? So, and also advertising and stuff like that.
Do I have to, if I'm zoning staff, do I have to have a break room in the zone for them to be able to go take a break?
They will leave the zone to go take
Okay.
breaks, I think.
Cool. That's good to know.
It's not. It's not like a strict rule unless.
Because if that's the case, that would be nice to know. Because then I don't need to make sure that the zones cover a pathway to the entrance. Also, like, I can't stack zones, so that would make things tricky, right?
Yeah, you can only have one zone in one area.
Oh, come on. Made way too many zones by mistake there for a moment. I really like these thunder sounds. I'm a sucker for rain noises in video games.
Well, you live in Vancouver.
Yeah, well, I like my thunder, I like my rain, I like all that stuff. Okay, let's just bring in some more janitors. I'm gonna bring in one more janitor. Put 2 in zone 1. That's the big one. 1 in zone 2. Well, 2. Well, hang on, wait. Which zone was which again? This is just a. There we go. I can just open up the zone UI. So I don't want them on zone 1. I want them on zone 3, because that's the front entrance area. Then I want you on zone 4, I think. Yeah. 2 on zone 4 and 1 on zone 5. Probably should go in and rename all those, but be fine. Align the cheat to make lightning hit a guess. Oh boy. If that's a thing.
Well, there's a dev thing to do that, but I don't think it's in the game. Someone could maybe mod it in if they found it.
Just make a clickable button. Just says zap. Do not press.
Well, in dev mode, you can just strike lightning at the mouse.
What about how do I like a lightning rod that would keep that from happening? If you could put a lightning rod, like maybe something you could research later down. Ooh, fountains.
Well, my cat's all over me now. What a goober. Yeah, that might be interesting, but it's like lightning isn't super negative, other than some rides don't like to operate when it's like that, so.
Or after they've been struck by it.
Well, it damages them, but also. Yeah, actually, I could see the benefit of that.
I don't know, just an idea. Like something
I'll
you
have to
could
discuss it with
research.
Sebastian and see what we think of that.
Also, I like these wooden supports. If I recall correctly, these were a mod, right? These wooden supports that I just dropped a couple down.
Oh, the angle ones, yeah,
Yeah.
and I just made my own that look similar. They're just the wood supports that I just modified a little bit
Gotcha.
to match
Yeah.
really well.
I need to actually set up a station for this poor pizza guy, because he's just like sitting over here, has like no way out. I don't actually think he's got an exit.
You didn't set up the depot too, so someone has to
No.
walk all the way over there to give him pizza.
I was like halfway through that, like setting this stuff up, and then I stopped to go build a roller coaster. Just
That's
like
fair.
I was originally building like that, like the little area with the bathroom and like the food and the drinks and all that stuff. Then I moved to like start working on a second one, and then like I just stopped and went and built a roller coaster. Now it's like we're returning back. That's how these games work, right?
It's
You
like a
have to
Central
have.
Alberta fairground. It's like half done.
It's actually a little traveling fair close to me right now, which I've been kind of tempted to go to, but it's like I don't know if I want to spend like $90 to go on 3 rides because those things are just so expensive. But you get to go on an octopus, so
Yeah, a little jump and smile type thing.
yeah, like it's nothing fancy, but it does the job. So there's a couple people riding the roller coaster, but I don't know if it's that rain is affecting it or not, but doesn't seem like a huge number of people are going on the little roller
It's
coaster
raining.
they built.
If it's raining, nobody rides a coaster.
Gotcha.
They don't like it. It's uncomfortable.
It's funny, I actually like riding roller coasters in the rain.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, when I was in Disneyland, I rode like the river rapids and the log flume in the rain just because I was like, I'm already wet.
Splash
It's
Mountain.
like, yeah.
I've been on like in Playland when it's pouring rain. It's great. There's no lines. You just walk straight on the roller coaster. I actually just the corkscrew. I sat on that thing for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They just let us keep going.
Classic.
Nobody there.
Classic. Yeah, the ride hop's like, please just let me go to have a break. And you're like, no.
Just let me go again. It's like I just want to sit
The
on my
Aero
phone.
corkscrew, man. Such a classic ride. There's a bunch of those across the world.
It's
They
so
don't get made
painful,
anymore.
but it's so good.
God, those seats suck.
Yeah, it just bashes your head around, and then by the time you get off of it, you just need to like, take a break.
Yeah.
Whoa. The rocket ship. I don't think I've actually noticed this before.
Yeah, it was a new one we added.
When I first saw that, I thought it was a space shuttle. I was going to say, don't show that to EJ, but...
We need to add more space stuff.
It definitely is fragged. It's a neat game, then. That's... Like, I remember when I saw the very first piece of footage from Parkitect, and I remember it started an argument because it was on the RCT subreddit, and the RCT subreddit is very particular of what can be posted there. And it's like there was a little bit of footage, and then it was just people criticizing the ride builder, and they're like, like I was okay with Parkitect, and then I saw the ride builder, and it's like it's too freeform, I don't like it, and then other people are like, I really like it, and I'm just sitting here going, I think this game is adorable.
Everything's divisive, right? Like,
well, that's
everybody has some preconceived notions of what they want in a game, so it's fine.
the hardcore RCT community is one of the most divisive communities I think in existence right now.
Yeah, they know what they want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, our hope is that like eventually we convince them that Parkitect is good. Like,
I think
but I mean, some people don't like it, and that's fine.
I think a lot of the people who like Parkitect really like Parkitect, but I do genuinely think that the excitement of Planet Coaster coming out has moved a lot of people who are more open to new games off, and they've all gone off and they've played Planet Coaster for a while. But I've been talking to people, and for some people I think interest is starting to be like, okay, well, Planet Coaster's a known quantity at this point. We've played this game for 300 hours. Let's get a little bit of variety in here.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fair. I've seen people go back and forth. They're like very similar in theme, a little bit different in gameplay.
That's what I do.
Different,
I bounce around between games. That and anything with space.
Grass is flying. There's a bug with the grass though.
Bug with the grass? Oh,
Yeah.
it's growing on the water,
Oh,
I think.
yeah. You got an 86% effective ad campaign.
Well, I mean,
So you
people are
should be
lining up
seeing-
now. What was that?
Yeah, the problem was you had like a rainstorm, and that kind of.
Oh, kind of muddled my chances. So if you have a good ad campaign and then you do another one right after that, will that also be a good one, or is it just diminishing returns right away?
It'll go down. It'll probably be like 70%, I think, something like that.
Let's put out a campaign of the submarines and see if we can actually get anybody on it. Although I don't think I ever stopped at testing, so probably not gonna help.
I mean, if it's not open, that would do it.
Yeah, 'cause after I rebuilt it, I set it in testing because I wanted to see what the ratings were. It's got medium ratings now, so it's not very low anymore. So that
Okay,
would
cool.
probably help. Well, I mean, RCT World, I think, DG, I know a lot of people just talk a lot of garbage about that game, but I think that lovers of games like this owe it one thing, and that's it. Regardless of how bad that game was, I think it reminded a lot of people that this type of game exists. So I think that even a not so good game in a subgenre can have a positive effect if it's just like, well, you know, it reminds people.
It brings people who are like, this is interesting. They're like, I like this, but maybe not specifically this, and they might look around, right? So.
Yeah, like I remember when RCT World came out, that was one of the craziest streams I ever had. Like I had 300 people in my channel just without
That's a big name, right? Like,
without actually doing anything. Like I was just streaming normally. No one, like I had no big hosts, nothing, like no friends sent any viewers over. It was just oh, I got an error. It was just me, and that is kind of nuts. I don't.
Yeah, that error's fine.
Okay.
I didn't read it much, but it looks.
Just gonna save real quick.
It's a guess thing, but it's fine.
But yeah, no, I think like that is a positive thing, and just it also demands like, well, you know, next time you do this thing better, right?
Yeah.
So whether or not that's from Atari is yet to be seen, but hopefully, like other people who are like, man, there is a game here that people want clearly because RCT World did actually kind of well, all intents and purposes. So,
Well, I mean, it's
sales wise,
just after a big absence in the genre, like it's gonna be interesting, right? So.
yeah. I think that's one thing that a lot of people need to remember, regardless of how good or bad the game was. The game still kind of sold well, which is maybe a wee bit unfortunate because of the quality.
Yeah,
of the
I can't
product.
like. Yeah, I don't really know like much about it because I never played it, other than like the news I saw. But yeah,
It was just really buggy and just kind of hard to play, I guess. Like I played it on launch.
That makes sense. I mean, that stuff can be improved on.
But okay, that game. I am kind of biased against it because the last time I tried to play it, my graphics card caught fire.
Oh god.
And that was partially due to the fact that the game had several leaks, which caused it to overload my VRAM.
Oh jeez.
So it kind of partially set my computer on fire, which forced me
That's
to go buy a new
worrying.
graphics card.
Yikes.
And I heard one friend of mine who claimed that it made his computer's RAM overload a couple times because it had RAM leaks on launch after the game was in full release. This was after early access, so that game had problems beyond like just like standard. Oh, this game's fun, you know. Oh, I like these roofs. These are new. I'm looking at roofs now because I just want to build something.
Oh yeah, we got stuff in there.
These. That being said, like I don't just want to, you know, harp on RCT World here, but
Well, that's the thing, right? Games are hard, and it's like it's really easy to be like
I've met people who
hard
worked
on them,
that
but it's
product.
like okay, yeah.
I've met people personally who worked on RCT World. I met several people at TwitchCon and some other people around that have worked at Niviso, and all of their stories are just kind of like, yeah, well, we got broken code from another developer because that game had 3
Yeah,
developers
it
over the
definitely
span
went
of
through
3 years, and
It definitely went through development hell, like that software, like so. Like I don't like begrudge developers because there's always something that happened, right? So.
yeah, and they know that product is broken, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I do think that we owe that. I think we owe Atari a little bit in that maybe to an extent they were like, yo, this is a thing that still exists. If anything, they were just very successful marketing for Planet Coaster.
I guess, like, I mean, yeah, the genre would have seen a boost from that for sure. Yeah, it's hard to look at like when all these games popped up, like what kind of drove that, what kind of made them decide. I mean, the Parkitect Kickstarter probably proved there was interest in the genre, and then maybe like they were working on it behind the scenes, and we just happened to get like first eyes because we had a Kickstarter, but we were still very small, right? So
yeah, I mean,
when you try to get investors on board for something like that, you got to prove there's interest, right?
Yeah,
so,
I'm sure Frontier had a demo somewhere, or
oh well, they have an engine.
They had
and they made what's that one for Xbox called Thrill Ride or something? I don't know.
Scream Ride.
Scream Ride, right?
Scream something.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a similar engine. It's probably like a branch of that.
Well, I'm sure that they have the Cobra engines, so they were working on that on their own time, and then I guess just a combination of that, and then maybe the Kickstarter came out and they were like, hey, we don't need to run a Kickstarter now because somebody else did it, so now we can just go get funding, if anything.
Maybe, right? Like I don't know for sure, and I don't want to like speculate, but
yeah. I mean, I'm sure there was absolutely no interference there, but it's fun to speculate about that kind of stuff for me. Just looking at it and being like, I wonder how this happened.
Yeah, it's fun to think about like maybe how things happened. I might ask in a little bit that you load up. I think there's like 3 parks that are built by some prominent park builder folks.
I can do
in
that.
the community. Just because those were built over like months, or not months, but weeks, so they're a little bit more crazy than this park.
Well, I mean, that and I'm rusty, so.
There will be no first-person view that we support. There are mods for it, but we did not build the game for it, and the game runs very poorly if you throw it into like a first-person view because it's not optimized for that kind of thing.
So there's Southern Highlands, Northern Highlands, Cydonia Hills. I know that one. Swampland Fairground. That one might be mine.
Yeah, so
Some
you could
of these
load.
older ones are mine.
Cydonia Hills is a fun one, but any of the 3 would be fun.
Okay. Let's go through
Cydonia Hills, Northern Highlands, Southern Highlands. Northern and Southern Highlands are very good. I like them because they push the game really hard, so we use them as like performance checks, and they're pretty too. They've got like a unique style for each of them that kind of fits together.
So for me, honestly, with first-person view, and I actually have this problem with Planet Coaster, games that generally don't run in a first-person camera, when they do have a first-person camera, I get motion sick really easily. So it just
you need like a dot to focus on, or a horizon to see.
Yeah, it just makes me motion sick almost instantly. I see why this is pushing the game because of all the trees.
There's a lot of trees. There are signs in the games you can write on, and you can also like ban guests from crossing the sign or certain employees. This is running pretty good. My goodness, this used to run at like 4 frames a second.
Do you want me to turn on fraps and see what it's running at?
No, it's fine. I can see this is like about 30.
My guess, just looking at it, is it's somewhere between 25 and 40. It's definitely choppy, but it's running. I know this, man, about a year ago, this would have run at like 2 FPS. So this is actually running pretty well. You can see all the little details they've got in here.
Yeah, all these guests in these big paths.
Oh no, this is like full garbage bins. They need to throw in some staff.
Yeah, these parks were built like before a lot of the systems.
Ah, that makes sense. Okay, I really like the signs that they've got set up here. That's cool.
Oh yeah, DG made this map.
Was it DG?
I was like, man, I think DG made these, but I didn't want to like say they did in case I was wrong.
He's in chat, isn't he? Oh,
yeah, he is. These are really cool parks. Might have to get it like refurbished or like get some new ones made pretty soon once we get campaigns in there.
I need to get practiced up again. I just need to get practice building buildings again. made both the Highlands maps. I kind of assumed those were same person.
Yeah, DG, you probably know how bad this used to run.
I think
Man,
I
it
know
runs
how
so
bad
good
this used
now.
to run. Now that I'm looking at it, I think I was watching him build it on stream at one point.
I think he did stream it, yeah.
Might be wrong there. Sorry, DG, if I am wrong.
DG's parks have helped us benchmark this game and make it run well, so.
And then Sidonia Hills was silver red, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
silver red, yes.
There we go.
Put DG in the credits as like, helped make the game run good. Almost by accident, even though we asked.
QA. Unintentional QA. Unintentional benchmarking. Not going to be a realism nerd about the chain lift going through the loop. But...
Hey man, Parkitect, you can make fantasy coasters.
That's true.
I'd ride that, that looks fun as hell.
75 loops in a row, you can make that work, you got it.
Yeah, man. I really like this dragon coaster. It's kind of funny looking.
Kind of makes me nostalgic for the old, like, tiny little dragon ride.
Oh yeah, the little like oval thing.
Yeah, it was like a little almost figure eight-esque shape. Those rides, they don't make them anymore, because the tail was heavier than the rest of the ride, so it became back heavy, and if it wasn't taken care of perfectly, the tail would fly off. And at least in Vancouver, it did hurt somebody. Nobody died, but it flew off and it hit somebody. Also, 71 Greatness, how you doing, man?
DG, that'd be really cool. You can use like all the new features and stuff. Because that was a while ago.
Just gonna follow the guest that's in the ride.
I really enjoy it, just like loading up people's parks and watching the coasters and stuff, because it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think it's either in I don't know if it's this vertical coaster. It might be in the other Highlands map that like comes out of cliffs and stuff and looks really cool.
The one in all the screenshots, right? If I remember correctly.
I guess the technically correct term for this coaster is a Eurofighter, but
I see what you mean by the
ride one of
sound is
these.
a little bit buggy.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I get to ride one of these pretty soon, I think.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Europe, so.
Oh, cool. Is that for development reasons, or is that just like a vacation?
Kind of, sorta. I mean, Playland doesn't offer much.
Oh. What's the hotkey to turn the UI off again? I remember.
I think it's X or C or V.
X, got it. I know I've since Planet Coaster's come out, I've been talking to my other friends who stream and asking, it's like, did you ever play Parkitect? And like none of them know what it is.
But yeah, we're indie, right? Like, and we don't have a marketing budget, so it's like I expect that. But thanks for you know, pushing us a little bit.
Yeah, I'll push you guys towards some of my other friends. Especially once you guys get like the management stuff set up. Like I've got a lot of friends who are very heavy management gamers. Like that's basically what they
cool,
do.
Yeah.
That and strategy games. So, I could start dropping names, but like I'll push the game towards them, because most of them were like they played Planet Coaster for the better part of like I don't know 5 hours each. And we're like because they all got bored, but.
One thing that we can't really show because it would take a long time to build is like the inverted dark ride with the dark rides and how you can control the rotation of the cars to direct guests a certain way.
I might have a save file with the half-built one.
That'd be cool, yeah, because it like just that's kind of a fun tool for people who like to get really nitty-gritty with things and stuff like that. Oh, you can hide scenery with some button because there's a ton of trees and rocks in this.
The nice thing about the kind of flat art style is it's very easy to just see everything.
Yeah, you can parse it really quick. Man, DC made like the biggest mini coaster. This is not a coaster for babies. Good lord.
This isn't a coaster, it's a tour.
Yeah, it's like the mini tours.
I would totally go on that. That looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks like a nice, gentle little ride.
Oh. What else do we have to ride, or is that everything? Dragon, wing,
And a spiral
spider.
slide. Big line for that, my goodness.
The sparrow slide. There it
Tourbillon,
is. Let's see.
log flume. We got another water ride coming. It's kind of like the log flume. It's not river rapids because we're not sure how we want to do that yet. But it's kind of like a car ride in water.
A ride in water?
Yeah, like a lazy river, but it's rafts.
Oh,
I
gotcha. Okay, so like a Jungle Cruise type thing, but
yeah,
without
yeah.
somebody driving it.
It's in cylindrical boats though, kind of like river rafts, but.
Oh, there's the log flume over here. Ooh, I like the little garden thing. I've done that a number of times in this game. It's just built little farms.
Yeah, just little things to make things detailed, you know.
I like how he used the graves. It's kind of
I kind of want to just rename them to dirt mound.
dirt
'Cause
mound.
I don't like implying what something should be used for.
That's true.
So.
I mean, the whole point of these games is using things for their unintended purpose, right?
Yeah, be creative, like figure it out.
Flagpole? You want to use that as a pillar? Okay.
Yeah.
It's just metal stick.
We should load up another one because this log flume's gonna take a
Yeah, that's
long
true.
time.
I could speed up time on it. Let's see. We got Southern Heights, and then we can go. We were okay. So we're in Southern Heights right now. There's Northern Heights. We could go to, or Cydonia Hills.
Yeah, Northern was like the first one DG did, I believe.
Yeah.
And Cydonia was
One
Silveritz.
Yeah. Made a pumpkin patch. Oh, that is definitely a pumpkin patch.
A big thing about the game was like if we wanted people to be able to share their creations really easily because that's important, right? It's a creative game.
Yeah, no, definitely.
People should be able to like just have a good time talking about it and sharing stuff.
I think I remember you making that, Hooger. I remember you talking about like being all into Parkitect. You're like, man, I'm playing so much of this game. Hey, Hattie, how you doing? Starts off with people screaming. I really like the construction in this one. Yeah, this one's running a little choppier.
There's a lot more going on in this park, I think.
A lot more rides, that's for sure. Ooh, wooden roller coaster.
Oh, I hope that bobsled doesn't derail.
Why did you change the physics on them or something?
Yeah, physics changed a little bit.
Oh boy.
There's a nice wood here. It's a good wood. I like that. Yeah, a little bit of choppiness here, but that's running leagues better than it used to.
Yes. It's absolutely playable. You want some great music, you need to listen to the soundtrack of this game, Mr. Hattie.
Yeah, I'll probably get auto banned if I post a link in your chat, hey?
No, you can post links. There's like no restriction on links. I just ban people if they post bad links. If you post a bad link, you're gone. You're never coming
That's
back.
fair, because I'll post a link to a new song Gordon made for us recently that we shared.
I just play it in the background even.
Yeah, well, there it is in chat, so. This song is like part of the campaign stuff, so it's kind of important.
I got it playing in the background now.
Cool. Yeah, we changed a lot with how the wooden calculates supports in its bounding box.
Doesn't change the fact that the building looks cool.
Yeah, it's a really good station.
Also, like, I'll bet you none of these parks have the underground stuff.
I don't think they do, because this was before depots. Oh, there's a really good dark ride. This haunted house here. This is one of my favorite rides in the game still, this dark ride.
Trying to figure out which one you're referring to.
Down,
I see it.
it's,
I see it.
yeah.
I'm just trying to find the hotkey to make scenery invisible. Oh, I pressed it, but I see the whole game just froze for a moment there when I pressed it.
Yeah, it's gotta load all the...
did volume on SoundCloud go?
You see the cars repeating. It's pretty neat.
That's beautiful. I'm just scared it's gonna blow out the rest of our audio. So, you know, that music sounds great. I'm getting RCT2 goosebumps. Are you, Shu? Yes, let's
Yeah, so you can see like on the track there's like little speed bump type things, which is like a little arrow next to them so you know where the car is gonna face.
I'll just speed this up a little bit. We'll run this at high speed.
That person's got a pug backpack.
A pug backpack?
Yeah, it's a little dog.
That's adorable.
That guy's got a pumpkin head.
So yeah, when you're building this, because I've built these before, you can actually angle. You can tell it to go in a specific direction. So basically, you can make Haunted Mansion from Disneyland, and it's kind of awesome.
Yeah, that was like the inspiration. It was like, okay, let's make a ride where you can point guests and kind of bring them through this experience.
And to anybody who hasn't seen this game before, this game's $20 in early access on Steam.
We do devlog updates every weekend, and the game is updated every month.
Yeah, no, that's a cute little dark ride. I hope that I still have that save file of the dark ride that I mostly built.
Oh, Digi does have the underground path network for staff,
no,
it looks like.
I noticed that. I was gonna point that out. Yeah, no, this is how you managed this game before.
Yeah.
The management of this was just the underground path networks everywhere, and now it's just like those little conveyor belts that go underground.
Oh yeah, and there's the monorail, the inverted monorail to get people around.
Sure, this game was originally a Kickstarter back in 2014, question mark. And then it was kind of in limited early access through the Humble Store for, I guess, about a year?
Yeah,
for quite a
while.
while.
Pre-orders.
And then you could buy into the game that way, and then it's been in early access for almost a year now, because it was May that it launched originally. Double check. Yeah, May 5th.
A year and a half, maybe, near the access.
May 5th, 2016. So. May 5th, so in like a couple weeks, it'll have been a year in early access on Steam.
Oh man, big anniversary. I will
update.
link to our Tumblr, which is our devlog, if you want to follow along. We talk about what we're doing every week. So like recently it was about terrain and submarines, which Blind has a dev build, so he has them already. So.
Which has been giving us a couple errors, but nothing major.
Yep. Just stuff because it's in the middle of the month and Sebastian and Co haven't gone through it.
Let's just see if Sidonia Hills runs well. So I remember loading that up and it actually running at 1 FPS. But that was also before I upgraded my computer a bit.
Yeah. Also, at the end of every, I'm gonna do a no and talk about my stream on Blind Stream.
Go ahead.
But at the end of every month, I do an art stream where I make a ride or something for Parkitect. Except for 1 month, but usually we announce it. So if you like dev art, that's cool.
This was a Silverette construction.
Yes, this one is used on the screenshots in the trailer, I think.
Yep.
I think all the parks are to some extent used in the trailers, but
yeah.
You
can find him, like, he actually has videos of him building it up on his YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, he's a very good Roller Coaster Tycoon player.
I actually had him on my Planet Coaster Spotlight last week, so
he's a cool guy.
I like him. He sometimes plays in my multiplayer RCT games.
That's awesome.
Just basically makes us all look bad, and then he leaves.
Alright guys, I'm out, bye.
Yeah, pretty much.
Beautiful park, and there's like somebody made a hill meanwhile.
Yeah. This is pretty looking. I love looking at his constructions. He always comes up with very interesting things.
Yeah, this little village. Man, DG, I think your parks are just as good.
I mean, DG, if anything, I think Silverette just uses more variety in foliage. That's kind of like the main difference I see.
There's definitely like more stylistic differences. Like you can tell people's building styles. Silverette's is a lot more compact too.
Yeah, Silverette is all about using as many items in a small place as possible.
Yeah, he spends a lot more time just building in smaller spaces where DG, you filled the space, which was incredible. And also like busted the game almost, but yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while, 71. Since he played in multiplayer, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, those are the 3 parks we have. We need to get more at some point. Where is... Of course, there's stuff on the Steam Workshop and the Parkitect Nexus.
If you follow that Twitch channel that I just linked in chat, that's Garrett's Twitch channel, and he does the art streams for Parkitect.
Nice.
So you can criticize him as he builds things. Okay, let's see if I still have that dark red I was referring to.
Man, I load up the workshop and there's already like extremely amazing buildings just showing up.
Yeah.
My goodness. Somebody made Six Flags Utopia. I don't know if that's a real park.
This is. Wondering if this is one of my old saves or if this is something else. Recognize this. Nope. This is one of my old saves. Yeah, this totally is. This is the dark red that I was referring to. This was the last project that I attempted starting. I built my...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is like my half-done dark ride. My goal is to actually build the inside of it too, which I mostly did. And I can't remember why I never returned to this one. I don't know.
Planet Coaster, probably.
Probably, yeah.
No sense hiding it.
Yeah.
It's a good game, man.
But yeah, no, I built around, did all the indoor stuff. I actually go back to working on this at some point. And then I got these two big ugly boxes which I was gonna decorate. A lot of other stuff. Oh yeah, right. No, the last time I played this was when Go-Karts was released. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Poster B for trailers.
Go-Kart track is good. We just went on a recording trip to record go-karts locally here. We went to, I don't know if you know it, but the Richmond go-kart track.
Oh, the indoor one?
No, the outdoor one. It's nearby.
I know where the outdoor one is, but I've only ever been to the indoor one.
Yeah. Yeah, we went there and recorded a bunch of their karts with the audio team, and it was a lot of fun. There's pictures of that in our devlog.
Yeah, no, this was my last big project that I started. Now I just want to like go and tweak all of the land because I can do the tiny little quarters now. Like I can just go in here.
Those flowers by the entrance, I think, are super colorful. It was like green and purple.
Wait, where?
I don't know. I think it was the entrance. There's somewhere there's super colorful flowers.
I like
colorful yeah, flowers. Like at the utility building is purple and you got neon blue.
Yeah.
Got like these alien crossbreeds happening.
Trying to just melt everybody's eyes.
It's mostly just because the LOD pops in and it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Hattie. I love Tearaway.
Tearaway? I never played Tearaway.
It's good. He's saying the style reminds me of that. And I really appreciate that. You know, you can go back and kind of detail all your terrain tiles.
It's gonna drive me insane, I'm not gonna lie.
We just need like some brushes, I guess, eventually.
Like 5 or 6 different shapes. Like maybe just like that. Like just all the Tetris shapes, that's all you need. In just different brush forms. Just steal all the Tetris shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do that. That would be amazing.
buy the rights to it off of what EA or something, and just be like, all right,
Isn't
we're
it
doing
Ubisoft
this.
that has that right now? Good luck with that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's Ubisoft, and then like there's the Japanese developed ones, which are the crossover games. And those ones are like crazy locked down. Then there's the Tetris the Grandmaster series, which is only in Japan.
That's such a good game, though.
I know.
Man, the speedruns of that are crazy.
Us dropped off
I like-
34 guests.
I like that bridge, little like suspension kind of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna do that with the other ones.
It's a cool idea.
I could totally get like now I'm just looking at this going. I could totally just put a submarine throughout this entire thing.
Oh yeah, it could just like travel the rivers.
I mean, I've loaded up all the other saves, so I could just start working on this one now.
You could make it a really slow transport ride by putting another station in.
Eh, I don't know if I'd want to do that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be efficient.
No. Not 100% about efficiency, but I do like my efficiency. There we go. Disconnect that over there. Something broke down. Log flume broke down. Oh no.
I think since last time we made some ease of use changes, so if you delete scenery and keep holding right click, you can like just swipe around and delete things of the same type. So if you're deleting fences, you just hold right click after deleting a fence and
Oh geez, that's neat.
swipe around. Or like if you just want to work on roofs. I think it works the same for painting too.
Okay, cool. I know
Yeah, so anything, it works up based on the deco category, so any kind of like tree will just be deleted if you just start deleting trees.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's definitely a quality of life thing that I was unaware of before.
Just because it's kind of a pain, just click, 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 non-stop.
That's giving me nightmares of that Peter Molyneux game. There it is. Okay, so I do actually have like the... I'm making this very deep underground because I was trying to scroll the camera around. Yeah, there's this...
Yeah. We should really make it like, when you work on depot pipes, it should almost like start hiding everything. Might get a bit slow then.
So I'm more or less out of questions at this point. All my questions were related to early access, I guess.
Oh, I hope I answered them.
Yeah, no,
Good.
It was mostly just me, like, basically just wanting to talk about, like, how has the early access experience been so far, you know?
Good. I mean, it's continued funding the game. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback, and you know, it lets us build kind of a relationship with players, like build trust there, right? So they know we're not just there to like steal their money, kind of thing. That we actually care about this game. So
Yeah,
it's gone really good for us. I don't think there is DG. No, I think we had to make it so they just worked because you'd have to add in the deliveries building. But I think you would have to ask Sebastian if there's a way to make that work. I'm not sure. But yeah, early access went really well for us, and I'm really happy with the outcome of it. So people have been generally positive and really receptive to our updates, and I think us doing a weekly devlog really helped that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting watching games go through early access from an outside point of view. Like, I like games and I like the industry from an outside point of view. As somebody who's like, I've had no interest in actually getting into game development, but I find the industry extremely interesting. So it's really...
It is interesting, and I hope that more developers and people like you just continue helping people kind of understand that, you know, like, games are very expensive and take a long time. So it's like,
yeah, I mean,
when we take forever on early access, it's because games take forever. And when you say like, oh, like this game came out like a year after it was announced, it's because they worked on it for 5 years before they announced it.
Yeah.
Right? So
no, definitely, and I think it's important to realize that just because a game's in early access for a really long time doesn't mean like it's dead or it's going to be in early access forever, which is something that
it's just we're working on it, right? Like we're working on it. It'll get done. Early access provides a lot of invaluable data, Like, you might not notice, you might not know, but it definitely does help developers figure out how to get around certain problems. So.
And it's really interesting, like seeing the people who do play Parkitect, like constantly like reminding people, it's like, oh, don't forget about Parkitect, you know, like regardless of how good Planet Coaster is, regardless of how good this is, regardless of what you're doing, it's like don't forget about this game. I mean, you can take a couple months off. Like, I don't want to burn out on a game before it's finished. At least for me, in my case here.
Yeah, and like I'm sure we'll get a major update slot on Steam and stuff and that kind of thing when we do campaigns and whatnot,
Yeah.
right?
And then of course, you know, full release at some point will hopefully be a big push. So, trying to decide where I want to put this submarine. I could put it behind the haunted house. I could, 500 hours into Parkitect. I think I have. I think I put the most time into Parkitect before the game came out on Steam. Was when I put the most time in, just playing in the sandbox.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Like I would estimate I have about 150.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to burn out on games like this, so I'm hoping like the terrain generator and scenario features and stuff kind of bring some people back and bring some new people into it. But like
something that I've been considering doing just as a streaming thing is, but the problem is I'd need like the majority of the people who watch me to own the game. Is I've been thinking about like generating a map, building a map, and then passing it off to everybody on the workshop, and then all work on the same map at the same time.
Yeah,
but,
map. That could be cool.
You know, then you kind of require like, well, I guess I really hope that the vast majority of the people playing like have it. So that'll happen more once the game's out of early access, because the number of people who just won't buy early access titles as well. So.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like,
yeah.
I don't begrudge that. That's like being a smart consumer, right? Like, of course. Man, it's like 4 o'clock. It's been 3 hours.
Yeah. So is there
fun though.
Is there anything else you would like to discuss before?
I can't really think of anything else. I think we covered a lot of it in questions and like talked about a lot of cool stuff in the game. I mean, if people have questions, we have Twitters, or you can shoot us an email.
Yep.
But yeah, like the Twitter is like if you use Twitter, it's at that one, and through that you can find our personal Twitters if you want. But you know, our personal Twitters are where we talk about silly things, personal things, right? So I mean,
tweets are my
it's not
own.
gonna be all about Parkitect. Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna be all about Parkitect.
I follow you on Twitter, and you tweet about your cat quite frequently. So, but there's an appeal of that.
Cats are good, man. Like, and yeah, DG, I will add those glass panels. I think there's a lot to be done this month, so I think a lot just freed up. So.
Glass panels.
This is a tight fit. You can do S-bends on 45s, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you use S-bends, you might have an easier time of fitting it in there.
I'm just trying to like, maybe if I just get it to the right spot, I can just fit it right straight through. Maybe. But if you have glass, then that's another advantage you got over Planet Coaster right there, because they don't have glass.
Well, our glass is just like a transparent plane, right? It's like it does cause some sorting issues, but you find ways around it.
They don't even have that.
It's really hard on a deferred engine, like if I'm assuming right, and theirs is.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do like good transparency with reflections and
See
stuff.
if I can go underneath this.
We don't do reflections for that reason.
I'm just gonna like terraform around this afterwards. Because this was originally a very small river.
It was not designed for a submarine.
No, it was not.
Planet Coaster uses Frontier's engine. It's not a Unity game.
Planet Coaster uses Cobra. You're confusing it with RC World, yeah.
RC World is Unity, yeah.
So is City Skylines.
Yes.
Or very heavily modified.
City Skylines uses a very heavily customized Unity, though.
Yeah.
Parkitect is very customized too, but we find ways to keep it working with the new Unity versions.
It's definitely got the most hummable music in a game I've
Gord would probably be happy to hear that.
Just if ever. Like in the last couple of years, like it's one of my favorite soundtracks. Planet Coaster has some good music, but man, this game holds up with that.
Gord's good at what he does.
Kidding. Let's get the sun testing. I'm gonna terraform around it. Actually, I can't because I haven't built the station yet.
What sort of things are customized? Well, it's not like we modified the engine because we don't have source code, but it's like making our own tools to balance the coasters and add in little graphs and stuff like that. So, and of course, there's some asset store stuff in there, like just like back end stuff to make sure it runs nice. Oh, your station's underwater.
Is it? Oh, whoops.
You can always lower the river.
Oopsies.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to like improve upon, is making that.
It should have like a glass bubble around it.
That might be cool.
I was thinking of just a fully submerged thing. Guess I should rebuild that, hey? Or at least the station part.
Yeah.
I'd goofed. Let's go up to here.
They can wade out there, it's fine. A little bit of water in the submarine.
Just like knee deep,
Yeah. It's on a track, it's fine.
So 3, I guess, would put it above water.
Yeah, 3 is ground level.
Okay.
Or default ground level, I should say.
Because people can adjust that. If they see fit.
Yep.
That fitting? Yeah, I think that went together. There we go, now we're above water. Cool. Say now it doesn't want to connect. There we go. Got it. I did it. I'll definitely get their feet wet. Also, laxatives, how you doing? I mean, I've done dumber
That's a
things,
name.
Mr. Hattie. Laxatives has been around for a while. Laxatives.
It's a good name.
It's a good name, yeah. A lot of good names on Twitch if you dig deep enough.
What are the goals till exiting early access? Well, we want to get the scenarios in there, a tutorial, some more rides, of course, as always. But it's mainly the scenario and a tutorial to let people kind of like treat it as a like a game, finger quotes, because it is a game. But some people have different requirements.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have some. This is just from my point of view, but for a game like this to be, in quotes, done, I guess, for me to look at it as done, it would need like a full single player, whatever that is, with some sort of like completion. Otherwise, you're just a sandbox. Unless it's just a sandbox, in which case that's fine. But when you're a sandbox.
Yeah, we want to give people that option, but we definitely want it for the more like completion-based people. Like,
yeah,
a single player would be cool.
And then I guess decently, at the very least, balanced management and.
We're getting there on that front. Takes time on that. Oh god, balancing is hard.
Yeah, no kidding. I fully understand that. I'll just leave that tunnel there. That's fine. It's underneath a bridge anyway. So now I guess I just have one other thing that I'm kind of curious about, and this is kind of off topic, but what have you been playing recently, if anything?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I played Mass Effect Andromeda recently. I played Zelda Breath of the Wild recently on the Switch. I really liked that game. I also liked Mass Effect, and I guess a lot of people didn't, but hey, I'm a bit of a fanboy for that series, so whatever.
For me, I think Mass Effect is kind of funny because I've never been a huge Mass Effect fan, but to me those games have always been buggy.
Right.
So it's just kind of
I played a game called Night in the Woods. It's a little story narrative game.
I need to play
on
that.
Steam. Yeah, it's really good. It's made by a small team of people. Full disclaimer: the programmer and composer Alec Holoka is a friend of mine. So,
gotcha.
But I do really like that game. It's
I think I lost you for a second there.
pulled out my
Lost your microphone or something?
I think I like nudged it, or my computer flipped out for some reason.
Oh well.
I think we're good now.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. But I played WoW for a long time too. But just recently was like Night in the Woods, Mass Effect, Zelda, Breath of the Wild. And was there anything else that I played? No, that was really it. And of course, Parkitect and Maya, yeah. Working on Maya.
See, when he said Maya, for a split second there, I thought he was talking about the game Maya. And then I remembered the software Maya.
I also play Astroneer from time to time, another early access game, but more about like space.
Adorable. I played that when it first came out. That was really fun.
Yeah, they keep improving it. It's really cool.
I just want more. Like,
yeah.
I'll play that game when it has like a big content patch. Whenever it has a big content patch for a little bit. Maybe not on stream, but I'll definitely play it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's one worth watching.
Yeah.
Any fave rides I want in? A lot of the rides I care about, but that I knew of that I really wanted in, are in. So whatever gets added is like Sebastian or someone brings it to my attention and I think it's cool. Like the twin inverted swinging ships. I think we have a specific name for them in the game, or the newest ones. And they're like a staple that we didn't have for a while.
Double inverted swing, is that this thing?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Doesn't really look like a ship, but it's like a, you know, a swinging ship that inverts, basically.
Double flippy thing.
Yeah, double flippy thing. But as for rides that I want in that are iconic, the last couple ones that I for sure want in are like water-based rides. So whatever River Rapids turns out being, or like a boats ride, like rowboats or something eventually. We've been trying to figure that one out for a long time because making that work with water is tricky. Especially because this game doesn't have a lot of restrictions. So how do we like explain that and make it fun to use?
Figuring out how to like recreate all of the nostalgia from RCT2 while still having your own game.
Yeah, that's always the trick, right? Like, you could just copy it, but then it's like, all right, it's not going to be fun. Like, you're just making a game that already exists. So that's why we're going hard into like the management stuff.
I have to rename the submarine now. There we go. There you go. Yeah, well, I agree with audio here. No, just no.
No. Just shouts no. No!
Bad. Stop. Okay, I should probably open this
You
up.
goofy mods.
I've got very goofy mods. It's fun. Now, have you played Ukulele at all?
No, but I've seen it.
Yeah, that game makes me seasick.
I've never really had nostalgia for like collectathons or like Banjo-Kazooie. They're not really like my kind of games.
Gotcha. I like 3D
I do enjoy
platformers.
them. Like, I appreciate them. It's just not a game I would play necessarily.
I really like 3D platformers, but I never had that much nostalgia for Banjo, but I did like Banjo when I played it, so I do have good memories of Banjo. It wasn't like huge amounts of nostalgia for Banjo, and I played the first like level of that game last night, and it made me want to throw up. I don't know what they did with the camera, but man.
Yeah, I've heard that game has a rough camera, so maybe they'll patch it. Like from other streamers and stuff, I've seen that they've complained about. Yeah, Majora's Mask Collectathon?
Sorry?
No, like Majora's Mask is like an adventure game, I would say, like a very Zelda adventure game. By collectathon, I mean like a 3D platformer where you're getting like all those like, what is it in Banjo? Notes? Music
like
notes?
Notes,
Yeah.
letter. It's like 4 different things. It's notes, letters, and then fruit?
Yeah, like Mario is kind of like that. You're getting coins and you're getting stars, right? So.
Yeah, but Mario was always
you just collect a bunch of crap.
Mario was always a lot more linear and had much better level design than Banjo, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I like Mario a lot more than I would say I liked Banjo.
Also, thanks, Carla, for the resub.
Like, I tell people I'm not into Banjo because they're like, oh, that's blasphemy. And I'm like, no, man, I just
it's not.
never really had that kind of stuff growing up. I had like a Sega Genesis, and then I had a Dreamcast. Like,
I backed the Kickstarter, but I backed the Kickstarter because I wanted that game to exist. Not
right, yeah,
really
of course.
because I wanted to play it. So, And I got into the early bird Kickstarter, so I paid $10 for it. So I don't feel that bad, but
Crocodile, that's like, I think that's a fair example. Like, when people defended, like, oh, they just think about it as like Banjo-Kazooie for like nostalgia. I'm like, yes, but also you could have made ukulele a very similar thing that expands upon those mechanics and modernizes them in a very effective way. But in my mind, it seems like it's just Banjo-Kazooie with a lizard and a bat. And bigger
bad
environments.
camera and all, but we have 2 joysticks now, so
Yeah.
your camera doesn't need to be bad by design. It can be good by design.
Yeah, so it's like just some like strange stuff there.
Nearby theme
Like,
park
I'm
is
not
closing.
commenting on if it's good or bad because I don't know. I haven't played it. Just like some observations.
I was just curious about that. But yeah, no, I think we're pretty much ready to wrap up whenever you're ready to head out. So.
Yeah, it was a good stream. I enjoyed watching you build stuff and kind of catching a few bugs, answering questions. Yeah, it's always fun to do these. I kind of waited for a while on this one because I wanted to make sure there was some newer stuff for you to look at and for people to watch because, like, things go slowly because games. But yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely. No, I get that. But I guess I'll talk to you in a year again.
It probably won't be that long. I really hope it's not that long.
Or whenever you launch campaign. When I
probably in like. I'm not gonna give a date. That's dangerous. It's playing with fire.
You can just be like Q1 2 years from now or something.
Yeah, give a vague one. I'll say a couple months, and by a couple I don't mean 2. I mean like anywhere between 3 to like 6.
Okay, so in the next in the next year, within the next year.
Yeah, within the next year maybe.
Okay.
Cool. But yeah, it was fun to chat with all you folks.
I'm gonna push this up on YouTube like I did the last one.
Cool. Yeah.
Miss it.
I linked my Twitter or the game Twitter in chat, and you guys are always welcome to ask questions there on Steam, or like we have a subreddit that it's a community subreddit, so like it's not ours, it's moderated by the community, but we're active there. So, which is r/theme Parkitect because it's an old name.
Yeah, it did. The name did change, didn't it? It used to be Theme Parkitect.
Yeah, I got a link to it. Yeah, it was Theme Parkitect, and then it just became Parkitect because it worked better.
Website and Steam page, which is the most important one.
Yeah, you can also get it on GOG and Humble if that's your flavor. So
get it on Good Old Games. You can use my referral link.
Yeah, man, totally. Also DRM free if that's your thing.
DRM free is fun. They really like the summary to this park a lot more than the last one.
It might just be because it's got more turns. Well, actually, the thing with directional changes is it looks for directional changes, where this is always turning left, so that doesn't count.
Vertical
it's just the length.
G-forces, none.
It's just 1 gravity.
Yeah.
Yep, this game's on GOG. If you like GOG, I can get a link for that. It's got a pretty good rating over there.
Little games.
They did a really good job. Those GOG folks, alright. They did a really good job with the store page, with the art assets we gave them.
Oh really?
Yeah, look at that. They got like a nice little background picture.
Good Old Games is good people. That's all I have to say.
Hashtag sellout. You're not wrong.
I mean, that's the whole purpose of this stream, right, Audio?
Yeah.
Technically, this should be hashtagged ad, I guess, but. Oh well. People know what they're getting into watching this.
Yeah, yeah. If you're gonna buy the game on GOG, you should definitely use a Blind's referral. Support local streamers or small business. I don't know.
I remember there. Man, I don't know if I ever told you this. I may have mentioned this before, but there was one time. Okay, I went back and I looked at my receipts through Humble to see how many times I'd bought this game to give away. I've bought this game like 30 times.
Oh, thanks, man. Single-handedly funding development.
Like, it got a little bad for a bit there. When I was still working full-time and I had, like, a decent amount of disposable income, and I was just like, eh. It got bad for a bit there, but, yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I bought this game too many times. It's almost as bad with RCT, too. Yeah, there is a lot of vomit. This park isn't very well managed.
We will be adding a first aid room and some improvements to that. Oh, I flicked my thing again.
Yeah, let's just drop people in.
Well, I think that about does it for me, at least. I think I answered a lot of questions. People know where to find me.
What map is this? A map I made. Hey, Mac.
A map it's be the name of it on the park entrance.
A map I made. Do that. I don't actually think it's named. Or actually, is it? Swampland Fairground. No, I totally did name it.
Swampland.
Definitely swampy. What's the goal for it?
Vomit bag souvenirs might be a cool idea.
Take your vomit home with you.
Like, not as a souvenir, but just like an item to prevent vomit.
Oh.
And they throw it in the garbage.
Oh, that's fair. I think that would be funny if they took it home with them. Put it in their bag.
Yeah. I'm gonna frame this and keep it forever.
Is it on the workshop? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. I know I do have some parks on the workshop. I don't know if this one is particular. I can check. Like, I guess if you go through GOG, you don't get the workshop though, right?
You can still go through Parkitect Nexus.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can, like, anywhere you can download those blueprint images, which is like the blue thing with the Parkitect logo, as long as it's not rescaled, you can just throw that into your saves and it'll load, because it's just the image.
There's my workshop, but no, it doesn't look like I uploaded this one. You know, some of the stuff actually got a bunch of downloads. Most of the stuff that Garret added to the dev picks list or whatever.
Dev picks. That thing's huge now.
Yeah. It's
like almost prohibitively big.
If you want to just get a billion items, you should do like it in like split it out into months.
Yeah, I should have, but I was just like, oh, I'm just throwing this in here, and it got like unreasonably big really quickly.
Yeah.
Will mods work through Workshop eventually? I would like them to, but I can't confirm that because I don't code that stuff and I don't know what that involves. But like, we would like to, is what I'll say. So maybe, solid maybe. I know maybe's kind of suck as an answer, but fortunately, that's all I can do.
Maybe is better than no.
Yeah.
Or soon. I'd actually rather a maybe than a soon, because soon is just
soon.
like, what does that even mean?
No, the classic answer I want to put in chat is that. That's the game dev answer right there.
Soon.
It's my favorite one.
I saw someone had a Twitch emote, which was just the tiny little TM, like a partner emote, which was kind of perfect.
That's funny. So he asked before, like, we finish up here, have I been to many theme parks? I've been to a couple. I've been to West Edmonton Mall's Galaxyland. I've been to Playland here in Vancouver. But that's really about it because Western Canada doesn't have a lot of good theme parks. But I'm going to be going to Europe in the future, and Europe has a lot of really good theme parks. So I'm going to hit up a bunch and kind of like get my theme park experiences going and like bring back some ideas from them and stuff like that. So maybe see if I can get like talk to some folks.
Most of my theme park experience is Google Earth.
That's fair, yeah. It's hard, man.
Walk-arounds.
West Coast Canada doesn't have good, so.
Well, I mean, there's something to be said for Playland, but it's not.
That wood coaster is pretty cool. I like it a lot, but yeah.
It has its gems, but it's nothing incredible, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll probably be tweeting about our experiences in Europe, so.
Now, I have kind of a question related to the last time I talked, and that's, have you actually spoken to Sebastian yet?
Yeah, I've heard his voice.
Okay, so you've heard his voice now. Last time we talked,
like,
you hadn't.
We've talked, but like, yeah, and when I go to Europe, I'll meet him in person, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm specifically going to like Germany,
Gotcha.
where he is.
Throwing lamps down everywhere. Any plans for a day-night cycle, or is that just...
We experimented with it, but that's something I can't confirm either, just because like we made some progress towards making the game and Unity friendly towards it. Like Unity is, but we had to make some rendering changes. So maybe, probably, depends on how much work we want to put into it. Like it depends how much work, I should say, not how much work we want to, but how much work it is. So.
Yeah. I recall the first time we did this, we said, "Oh yeah, no, it'll be an hour," and it was like 4. Like, 2.
It's fun to hang out and talk about it and just see the game be played. So
Streams are fun.
yeah,
I do them. Oops, jeez. Got on the wrong side.
whoever, it's 4:20. Nice. Yeah, I think it'd be a good time to finish it up so I can eat something.
You can eat something and maybe go do some work.
And reassure Sebastian that the game is fine and not broken.
I mean, I haven't noticed anything. I'm sure it's exploding right now, but I haven't seen it. So I guess I should go back to the actual alpha build. But this save's gonna.
No, it's all good. It's just like this has like a slightly different UI. Is all.
Gotcha.
And some new rides.
Yeah, the submarines, which are really cool. I like the submarines.
I'm pretty happy with those.
Bad at building roller coasters. I never do it. This park doesn't have a coaster. The last one
You just gotta do it more and study some real coasters a little bit.
Well, I
Bank
do that.
those corners.
I do that. Like, even when I'm playing Planet Coaster, I'll build one roller coaster, and then it'll be like 8 weeks of me just working on scenery.
Well, it's people like just scenery is the draw. I think. Like, sure, there's building rides, but then like being able to spice it up is really cool.
Really?
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna switch games now. I'll just see what the chat wants me to do. But yeah, I'm gonna keep streaming. So whenever you want to head out.
Cool, man. Well, thanks again. Thanks for asking questions and having me on here chat too. Yeah. I'll probably be on here maybe shorter than a year from now. So
sorry for bugging you about this.
No, dude, it's totally fine.
Yeah, no.
I just wanted to we had stuff, and I'm like horrible at reading my messages, so.
That's fine. You probably get a decent number of them, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's been good. It's been good talking to you, and I hope you get some work done today, I guess.
Yeah. Technically, this is work. It's all good.
We are. Cheers.
Yeah. All right. Later, man.
Well, that was fun. So, guys, what do we want to do now? I guess is the question. Stop the recording there. Probably edit that a little bit. By that, I mean put an intro on it and put an outro on it. That's a little more concise. And then stick that up on YouTube's. No. Thank you. A whole lot, Garrett. It was fun. I like talking about games. Just something I like doing. Always like talking about games. So, guys, in chat, what do we want to do now? Do we want to keep playing this for a while, or do we want to do something else? RC2 rolled to cool down. Dude, that would do the exact opposite of cool me down. That would stress me out, like... You wouldn't want to see me playing RC2. Oh, that would be bad times, friend. Bad times.